game and not stumbling over Shrewsbury Town. So it's not that many years since Wolves played at Shrewsbury in the FA Cup and really were pushed very hard under Nuno's management. So Shrewsbury certainly with the cup pedigree to make it awkward. But even if their form this season would not suggest that, third from bottom of League Two. News from one of our later games, by the way, as we just get started here. The game between Cambridge and Birmingham City is going ahead at 5:45. So if you're a Blues fan and been waiting for that news as to work out whether you should set off or not, that game is going ahead and we'll have it live for you later, of course. Wolves against Shrewsbury's our concern at the moment now on all frequencies today and BBC Sound. So if you're heading out and about or whatever you're doing, you can hear our FA Cup coverage online as well through BBC Sounds and later on the BBC Sport website as well. Wherever you're picking us up, do let us know. Drop us an email or something to wm.sport@bbc.co.uk. It's good to know if you're picking us up, and particularly wherever you are, or if you're using the online, it all helps to know that. Here's Doherty going forward on the right-hand side. I'll recap the teams briefly in a few moments and give you the details of Shrewsbury, who are all in pink today, although when they're in the shadows it goes a bit purple to my eyes. Forward goes Santiago Bueno for Wolves. Now Krejci down the left. Infield it comes from David Moller-Wolfer and links up with Hwang and wins a throw on the near side, taking it with a peach-coloured ball that is the FA Cup standard issue this season. So it's quite a mix of pastel colours on Molineux at the moment. Forward goes John Arias, trying to play a pass in for Chachua, who's away from the defender, cuts it back for Hwang. Ball just tipped away from him. Joao Gomez with a shot, cannoned away off Tom Anderson for a corner, and Wolves setting a good tempo from the start.
You almost feel like if Hwang would have attacked that ball just a little bit quicker, I think it would have been more of an open shooting opportunity. But really good start, great ball through from Arias, just about reached Chachua, and he made a decisive pass into just an area well defended by Shrewsbury though.
Yes, defended in big numbers, which might be the theme of the day for Michael Appleton's team. Corner on the right-hand side for Wolves after 2 minutes. And picked out in the sunlight is a corner coming in from the right, but easily cleared and picked up again at the edge of the penalty area by Joao Gomez, who let go a rather wayward shot from the corner of the box, and it's over the bar, which gives me a moment to recap to tell you, if you've just joined us, the team news for today for Wolves. 5 changes, leaving Johnston in goal, Doherty, Bueno, Santiago Bueno and Krejci at the backs. Doherty, Santiago Bueno and Krejci. Then Jackson Chachua and Wolfer the wing-backs, Arias, Joao Gomez and Andre in midfield, Larson and Hwang the 2 forwards. On the bench, Hugo Bueno, Arakadari, Mosquera, Lima, Rodrigo Gomez back in the squad for the first time since October, Chirewa, Lopez, Mane and the spare goalkeeper today is Bentley. Shrewsbury team in a moment, headed forward by Tom Anderson into the Wolves half and headed down by Andre. Have lost possession just for a second though. And it's steered forward out to the Shrewsbury right to Ismail Kabir, who gets his cross in past Wolfer. And away by Krejci on the edge of the 6-yard box and headed back to the edge of the penalty area. And a shot hits, as it rise from distance, he's chested down by Krejci to give Wolves possession back. And they should be able to clear the lines now. Shrewsbury with Eli Harrison recalled in goal on loan from Manchester United. A back three of Will Boyle, Tom Anderson and Luca Hall. The 3 at the back. Sam Klukas, who is now 35, Premier League experience previously with Hull and Swansea. He's on the left. Ismail Kabir to the right. Josh Ruffles and Taylor Perry, who had time here as a youngster in midfield. Then Tommy McDermott playing behind 2 forwards. John Marquis, formerly of Millwall and others. And Ewan Morgan making his debut for Shrewsbury, young Welshman, 19 years old, a forward, on loan from Brentford, from whom he scored a lot of goals at under 21 level last season. Santiago Bueno for Wolves. To the right and Doherty. 4 minutes, 0-0 at Molineux. Chachua steering it back for Doherty. There's lots of time for Wolves, which they might not entirely be used to.
Yeah, I think also being in that final third a lot of the time and having a lot of possession hasn't been us in the season so far, really.
So I thought, what would be the last fixture that Wolves played for which they were clear favourites?
The Carabao Cup?
Even the Carabao Cup, they played Premier League teams,
didn't
they? So it's been a...
Pre-season?
Well, they didn't look favourites for much in pre-season, to be fair. Wolfer clipping the ball in field. needs a second opportunity because of a decent block by McDermott, who's working hard to force the ball out for Shrewsbury. And eventually, it's going to be a Shrewsbury throw. It's gone out of Wolfer last. And Taylor Perry making his presence felt in midfield for Shrewsbury. He's still only 24. A free transfer from Shrewsbury to Wolves 2.5 years ago, having briefly broke into the first team squad here, made 3 first team appearances. Santi Bueno back to Doherty, who is the captain today. Forward to Andre with a bit more space than he might be used to in midfield. To his left, and Krejci creeping forward and tapping a short pass to Hwang. It's all a bit congested by Shrewsbury defenders. Krejci trying to fire a pass in towards Larson, but was always going to hit the man in front of him, McDermott, and go out for a Wolves throw on the near side. And it's not a surprise that Shrewsbury are just going to try and make it a real tangle with the ball when the ball gets in their half.
Yeah, I think they're going to sit back and absorb, aren't they, and make it nice and tight. But Wolves have got to be creative, haven't they? Find the gaps. They've got players enough to do that. So
good pass by Hwang, opened up a bit of room for João Gomez. Played a 1-2 with Larson. Now moving to the right of the penalty area, João Gomez. Back from Chachua. Forward by Doherty. Gomez again, and Chachua's offside. And it's a bit careless, really, because he was ideally placed to look across. It was a nice build up until that point. Yeah,
and he's put a couple of good crosses in, actually. I know it was offside, but the cross he delivered, I think the deliveries maybe, and the decision making of Chachua on Wednesday at Everton maybe struggled at times, but equally it's a game where we're going to have lots of possession. It's almost getting that confidence with the ball, but obviously you've got to do something with it. So you need an end product to it, and creating chances we haven't. It doesn't really happen like that in the Premier League necessarily, does it? So it's normally a little bit cagey, especially when you're in the position that we're in. But today is a real opportunity to build the confidence up.
And look, a meaningful thing to aim for in the second half of the season, as far as Chachua is concerned, is to use his attributes more. Clearly, he has got strengths in that he can run, and if given time he can put a cross in, but he seems tentative to do that too often, and maybe that's something that if they can improve that in the second half of the season, it will help. Shrewsbury can get a cross in from far on the left, which does actually arrive in the 6-yard box, although a long way ahead of the runner Morgan, and it's cleared down the near touchline for Wolves, but again not with too much care. And they concede possession again on halfway. Played forward to Taylor Perry, stabs it onto McDermott, and they exchange another couple of passes until Andre makes a very well judged tackle on McDermott. And now Hwang with another good pass back to João Gomez, and then a bad pass from the Brazilian too far in front of Arias allows Shrewsbury to pick up the ball again. And they're just trying to match the passing tempo of Wolves at the moment. Wolfer leaned on Cabia to with a bit of international know-how to take Cabia out of the picture there as he tried to run onto a pass down the right touchline. Referee said that it was fair game. And Wolves have it moving out to the right with Arias. Chachua edges back to halfway. And Doherty to the left, and Bueno. Southbank's filled up almost to full. And it's quite noisy in there. Pass by Krejci. He's Hwang onside. He is at the moment. He taps it past the goalkeeper, and it must be a goal for Larson. Tucked in with a little flick off his heel. Did it with a slight impishness there, Jørgen Larsen, to finish that chance created by Hwang Hee-chan. The big question was whether Hwang was onside, but the linesman indicating that he was. You don't have to worry about VAR today, and Larson did the rest. 1-0.
How comfortable to not worry about VAR, because you'd definitely be looking at the screen right now, wouldn't you? But it's a well-timed run. Yeah, he looks onside for me, so he's timed just beyond the back line, manages to squeeze it across, and actually the ball's slightly behind Strand Larsen. He manages a cheeky little flick into the goal. So I think Shrewsbury will be a little bit disappointed maybe with him defending on that one. But we take the goal, and it's great to see Strand Larsen on the back of the score sheet. He's flicked it in between his legs. Really cheeky finish. Yes,
with the goalkeeper taken out of the picture chasing Hwang, then it allowed a little bit of room for Larsen to indulge himself. His 4th goal of the season in 3 different competitions. Got 2 in the League Cup against West Ham, the penalty kick against Burnley in the league, and now that one. So he'll be feeling pretty good. His first FA Cup goal. Jørgen Larsen, his 18th goal in all for Wolves. And look, whoever it's against and whatever the competition is, forwards are about scoring goals, and he's got one and it makes you feel good.
Yeah, and I think doing it so early in the game, you hope it really settles the nerves and the boys can go and enjoy it. But equally, it's not a game where you want to go through the motions and just keep possession. You want to have a bit of impetus to our play, and Strand Larson will want to prove himself in a game like today and get himself back in that starting 11.
We might have an opening again here with a pass shaping out towards the right-hand side, but it's just glanced away from Chachua and out for a throw in from the right touchline and controlled by Larson, who actually I thought the other night when he came on against Everton looked a little bit fitter than he has done for a while, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah, and I think, look, listen, he should be full of confidence now. He came on as sub. He made a real instant impact in a game where you weren't sure for much of it where a goal was coming from. So, he played the most direct and forward
and
pass.
Now he's playing one through for Arias after a lovely interchange with Hwang, and this should be 2-0, and it is. And that's a really pretty goal, and Larson was involved 3 times in that. Firstly working with Hwang and then supplying another scoring pass, this time for John Arias. And in just 11 minutes, Wolves already a long way to nailing down a place in the 4th round, leading Shrewsbury Town 2-0.
Yeah, the players are enjoying it already, but just as we set up Strand Larson, he sneaks another great ball through to Arias, and pretty simple football really. 1-2's all over, and then a nice ball sliding through. From a great run from Arias, he's cut across and made it difficult for their defence to follow him and track him.
John Arias, his 2nd goal for Wolves, and obviously his 1st in the FA Cup as well. And he also now has a goal to follow up what has been a good spell of form for him in this different role that they sort of happened upon at Old Trafford. And it's working for him. It's funny how things suddenly drop into place sometimes, because I don't think this is quite what they bought John Arias for, and now here he is.
No, and I think he came off the back of a brilliant Club World Cup. All the talk was around he was the MVP virtually for that, scoring, assisting, and doing a bit of everything. But he hasn't quite hit the ground running. But we've seen glimpses, haven't we? In the West Ham game in particular, I thought he was particularly good. I thought he was quieter in the first half at Everton. So, but another game, another start for him today gets him, gets the confidence up again. And I think it's a lot about confidence when you're in a team that maybe doesn't have a lot of possession and is not scoring a lot of goals. If you're a creative player, it can be difficult. We've seen that from Strand Larson this season.
Now we'll see something interesting about the pace of the game, because, look, you shouldn't count things too early in the FA Cup especially, but they're winning 2-0 against a team that's been really struggling in its own league in the first, it's only 12 minutes. There would be a real benefit if Wolves can actually run the score up here, because it's been very thin times at Molineux especially. Until the West Ham game, all the good recent performances had all been away from home. Regardless of the opposition, if Wolves can run a few goals in today, everybody's going to feel good. I think it would be worth the effort.
Yeah, I think it's a feel good on and off the pitch, isn't it? Like we said, the amount of new fans that are here at Molineux today, and I know a lot of kids' football's been cancelled today, if not completely closed. Both my kids' games were off this morning, so they've all got tickets now to come to a game that they couldn't probably at 8 o'clock this morning. So
that wasn't a great tackle there, put in by Josh Ruffles, and he brought down Arias, and it's a yellow card for Ruffles. That wasn't great. So Arias, I think, will be all right. But with that exception, there's a lot of space for Wolves that are finding in this game. I mean, you were talking about the 2nd goal. It was simple football in the sense that every individual pass was simple. But the fact that they stitched it together, and all right, they've got a bit more room than they might normally expect. But sometimes you just take the opportunity to get back in the groove, don't you? And they looked smooth in the way they did it, in a way that looked beyond them a month ago. Yeah,
and I think it'll give them the world of confidence just to have lots of possession, do things that maybe they do on the training pitch they don't always get a chance to put into practice and on a normal Premier League match day.
Chachua's got a cross in. Larson headed it down. Hwang trying to find room away from a defender. He's going to recycle it out for Chachua to clip another cross in. Who wants this? Joao Gomez going for a bit of a spectacular finish. I think he might have had Larson darting in front of him there, which may have put him off. And in the end, he's knocked it right across the face of goal.
I think Strand Larson, I don't know who had the final touch on it. It looked like both of them went for the same ball, didn't it? But, listen, you can almost see that desire to get on the ball, because they're all thinking, I want to get a bit piece of this positive attacking play.
Look, at the end of the season, if you're looking at your goals tally, nobody's going to be saying, that one doesn't count, this one doesn't count, because it was only against them. Run them up. We'll never know who touched it because our little replay screen's conked out. The cold gets you everywhere. Oh, Stefan Larsen got the touch ahead of João Gomez, but it wasn't as good as his previous one where he scored after 9 minutes. And we've had 15 at Molineux. Wolves are winning 2-0 against Shrewsbury in the third round of the FA Cup, and they look up for getting some more, with João Gomez again very prominent in these early minutes, using Chachua, and Doherty wants it. Santiago Bueno waving his arms. He wants a touch. Everybody does when you're winning 2-0. Doherty clips this forward off the head of Ruffles, deflected out to Huang, who gets out to try and keep this moving on the right-hand side. Shrewsbury cleared to halfway. Taken down now by Arias. And back for a touch from Doherty. Out to the left now for Krejci, who's being harried by Tommy McDermott, but not for long. Bueno has found some more room for Arias. Jackson Chatu is on his way. He's played it more centrally to Larsen, who rode one tackle and was brought down by the second. And the Shrewsbury defender, he's pointing at the ball, but I don't think he's going to persuade the referee, Stephen Martin. It's a foul by Hall and a free kick. They'll all fancy this, won't they? 25 yards out. You're already winning 2-0. Everybody wants a bit of this.
Yeah, I think Wolf's having a little hover, isn't he? Being a left-sided player, you'd want to whip it, but Huang's certainly hanging around the ball, but it's Arias as well. So, listen, it'd be interesting to see who takes charge of this one as well. I think in this scenario, like you say, everyone wants to get on the score sheet, but equally, it's so early on in the game, you can't take everything for granted either.
No. But it's funny, everybody wants a piece of the action when the team is winning, and it's feeling good. You know, I've had some 3 or 4 good performances in a row. Unbeaten in 3. Huang looks as though he's one out. There are 4 in the wall. João Gomez is lurking near him. Chachua looks like he's winding up for something as well behind him. Huang goes for a goal. It wasn't far off, actually. He got it up and over the wall. It was dipping sharply, but not quite quickly enough. He'd have beaten the goalkeeper if it had. I
think I was just looking at the wall and thinking how tall they were. They didn't go for the guy on the floor behind either, so they all jumped. So I think they were at maximum height anyway. I think it would have deflected, but yeah, not far away. No, that was... Look at the replay on that. The keeper's not getting that if it dips a bit more. So Huangi Chan, who actually I think has played pretty well in some of the recent games. It wouldn't hurt if he scored a goal here. Has 2 so far in all this season, but another... a little run of goals wouldn't hurt for him, because he is one who still finds it hard to win the fans over, although he's been trying hard recently. Andre forward to Jürgen Larsen. This time Hall gets in ahead of him to force it away, but back to Wolves' possession, of which they're having quite a lot. Doherty avoiding Morgan, plays it out to the right, and Arias. You're with BBC Radio WM. We're at Molineux, where we've had 18 minutes and Wolves are leading Shrewsbury by 2-0 in the FA Cup. 2 later games to come. Bueno's pass just not quite in the right slot for Arias, going through to the goalkeeper. Later, Tottenham against Villa is on, and Cambridge against Birmingham City is on after an inspection. So, again, for Blues fans who might be thinking of setting off sometime soon, if you've been waiting for news of the pitch inspection, we are informed by Cambridge that the match is on, and it's a 5:45 start, and you'll be able to hear it live on BBC Radio WM if you're not going, or potentially even if you are going, because it's available all across the UK on BBC Sounds today. Forward go Wolves on the left. Huang just took a bit of a bang there. It's left him slightly feeling sore, holding his knee for a moment. Shrewsbury come forward from their right. Cabia slips the ball in field. Taylor Perry looks to make some room. Out to his left for Ruffles, and coming up on the left now is Will Boyle, the left-sided centre-back, but it's quite slow-paced build-up, and Wolves are not pressing them too hard. Rob Edwards just clapping his hands, just trying to switch the team back on. You don't want them to go slightly dozy, that they're winning so easily. No, you don't want to get too casual and drift through the game either. Like, you want to keep the intensity high, because ultimately it's a workout. The next game's not till next Sunday, so there's going to be some rotation in this game for sure, because they'll get minutes across the group. So he'll want it to be played at a momentum for sure. Yes, and because that's another reason
not to weaken the team today is there's no midweek game for Wolves.
Yeah,
in fact, they don't have one, I think, in the next 3 midweeks.
Yeah, so they're off the back. They've got plenty of recovery time, haven't they? But it does play people in, doesn't it? Gives the chance for Strand Larson, Doherty, Andre to come back in and have a start and get some minutes, and maybe we will see a couple of the players that have been a bit more fringe off the bench later on. 3
other games that kicked off at the same time in the FA Cup. Cheltenham holding Leicester 0-0 at the moment. Everton against Sunderland is goalless, and Macclesfield 0-0 against Crystal Palace, one of 2 non-league sides left in the tournament. Macclesfield along with Western Supermare, they'll be playing later at Grimsby, but Macclesfield 0-0 with Crystal Palace, and here Wolves leading Shrewsbury by 2-0. I was Boreham Wood as well, they're still in the draw. They're playing at home to Burton later. That's at 3 o'clock. Out to the right goes Doherty for Wolves, crossing halfway and playing it out to the touchline for Chachua. First time pass in field to Arias, knocked it through the legs of Ruffles. Back out to Hwang, right on the touchline Chachua. Wolves being waved in field by Rob Edwards, and they come across now from right to left using Andre and Joao Gomez and Wolfer, who's drifted away from the fullback in case there's an angle for a return pass, but there isn't quite. Andre to Krejci. Now he might use Wolfer. There's a bit of space. Back to Krejci again. Wolves keeping the ball moving. And back it goes to the halfway line for Bueno, and tapped by Andre. And they're making this look very rhythmical, Wolves, enjoying some room to play. Forward goes Arias. Out to Chachua from the right, brings it to a halt, then plays a 1-2 with Arias, sprints onto the return pass. Defender did well to stay with him there, Sam Klukas. And back down the touchline go Wolves to try again. Doherty taps it short to Chachua, and then a heavy touch knocks it away from Arias and out for a throw, which was a pity. Rob Edwards puffs out his cheeks. That was building up quite nicely until they let it slip.
Yeah, I think, they're trying to be a little bit different as well, aren't they? A little bit creative, playing in little pockets and 1-2s and a lot of movement off the ball, but kind of that's what happens when you are dominating the possession like we are.
And they are. Wolves in scoring goals after 9 and 11 minutes through Jorgen Strand Larsen with a canny flick to convert Hwang's cross with the keeper stranded. And then on 11 minutes, Larsen playing a scoring pass for John Arias, who ran through in pursuit and then stroked it in off a post. Andre caught out near the edge of his penalty area, and there's pressure on here if they can work the ball to McDermott. Shrewsbury have suddenly got 6 forward. If they can find a bit of room for Perry to get a cross in, and it's just over the head of John Marquis. Away by Doherty. Second ball coming in, and Marquis, I think, might have bumped into a defender there. Yeah, referee's going to give a free kick to Wolves. Marquis has always been a bit of an awkward merchant up front. And for the first time there, he jostled about and made a nuisance of himself. Yeah, he's an experienced striker, isn't he? So I think he will put himself about a little bit, and he will be challenging for the defender. It's just not going to happen on masses of occasions where they're going to get the ball forward like they did with numbers in support as well. So, but that's where Wolves have got to be a bit less casual. Andre giving the ball away under not a lot of pressure when he could have tried to retain position. Yeah, offside here against Larsen as he chased a pass from Arias. Marquis is now 33, a lot of experience with Millwall and Doncaster and Bristol Rovers. Portsmouth, I think he was with for a while as well. Scored a notable FA Cup goal as a youngster to knock Aston Villa out of this tournament. That was 13 years ago in the 4th round. I think it was Villa under Paul Lambert at that point. But still going, John Marquis in the 4th tier. Pass down the right-hand side. McDermott, he's onside here and holds the ball at the edge of the area away from Krejci. Tried to slip it through for the run being made by Ewan Morgan, but Santiago Bueno's in the way, and now Hwang Chan. Oh, he played what might have been a good pass for Chachua. It was a bit under hit and picked off by Shrewsbury, and forward they go down the left, and a penalty kick conceded rather carelessly by Arias. Just bumped into the Shrewsbury player on the Marquis right on the edge of the penalty area. Marquis wasn't really going anywhere, but Arias, it was very clearly seen by the referee from his angle, just tripped him, and it's going to be a penalty. Wow,
he's cutting across the penalty area, isn't he? And listen, he does look like he's crossing the line into the box. He does not need to make a challenge at that point. Just keep up with him and run with him. Whether he contacted, I don't know. There's no The replay is not conducive. We've got another replay. But he does dive in, doesn't he? He tries to nick across, doesn't win the ball, so...
Yeah, it's an unwise tackle. It was.
The player goes down fairly easily. I don't know how much contact there was there, but equally it's casual, isn't it? We just spoke about getting caught in a moment now where Hwang gives the ball away way too easily, casually passing it across, and gives them a chance to get back in the game.
And on the edge of the penalty area, what do you expect him to do if you judge him? He's probably going to fall over.
Absolutely.
And now it's a penalty kick to Shrewsbury to try and get back in the game after 25 minutes at Molyneux. In front of the South Bank, John Marquis, and he beats Johnston, sends him the wrong way, and it's Wolves 2, Shrewsbury 1. You can hear the reaction of the away fans to that, and Rob Edwards will be so cross, a goal so carelessly conceded.
It just wasn't needed, was it? I think we were absolutely comfortable in the game, and just that little bit of experience and decision making. There's no VAR on the game. The referee's going to have to make a decision first time with everything, and you know, as you're going across the penalty area, yes, it's right at the corner, but he was no threat to us at that point. You know, we had players returning into position. Arias doesn't even need to put his foot across, but he gives the referee a decision to make, and the player, like you say, is going to take the tumble if he feels a little bit of contact.
And I mean, it's interesting about John Arias, and I've really enjoyed his more combative performances since he's been put into this role at Old Trafford and the game since. The one slight drawback of it is he's given away a lot of fouls. He gave away a lot of fouls at Everton, and that one was a challenge that didn't need to be made. I like the fact that he's showing more bite in the game, but you've got to know when.
Just not in the penalty area, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, diving in, he's just... I think if he's driving through and he's, you feel like there's a threat to the goal, maybe you can... But in that, there was nothing in that. He didn't need to make that challenge.
No. And look, had we had VAR, it would have been, I think, 50-50 as to whether that was in the area or not. It was right on the line, but that's kind of not the point. It was a careless challenge to make in the first place. And it's 2-1, and Shrewsbury, renewed by that, have Cabia tried to set Morgan away down the right-hand side. Doherty's across smartly and passes this back to the goalkeeper. Johnston clears to halfway. Larson has, I think, deliberately headed that down sort of sideways to João Gomez. And now forward goes Chachua. And home fans, suddenly a little bit irritated, want to see Chachua going forward rather than sideways.
Yeah, I think there's that frustrated, and we know he's pacey, like the talk of him being the second fastest in the Premier League or whatever, and he's great as that last man when we have set pieces. You can see that he's there and his pace will be great, but he doesn't seem to use it very much in attack for me.
That's exactly it, isn't he? He might be the fastest in the Premier League, but you wouldn't know it because we don't see him use it very often. So yeah, if they can find a way to encourage him to use that more, maybe they can play him in there. 28th minute, 2-1. Arias to Chachua is going to try and knock this around Klukas and get to the byline. Klukas concedes the corner. Now that's all right.
Yeah, and I think that's all you have to do. Even if he, knocks it, runs, gets across in. If he doesn't, he's got an increased likelihood of winning us a corner, and that gets us up the pitch.
It's okay. So, second corner. Cheltenham 0, Leicester 1. Patson Daka has scored there in the first half at Wadden Road. 17 minutes to go in the first half at Molyneux. Wolves 2, Shrewsbury 1. Larson and Arias for Wolves. Marquis with a penalty kick for Shrewsbury a few moments ago. And a corner on the right. Over there has gone Andre, Krejci and Larson and Santiago Bueno and Doherty all scatter in the middle. It's coming in now just over Larson, slightly behind Bueno, and a defender got up there, Tom Anderson, to head it away. It'll be coming back from the Wolves right with Andre knocking it down the line for Gomez, who's beaten one man and puts his cross into the middle, and it's just beaten to it. Defender gets there just before Larson, and Shrewsbury try and come clear, but not very tidily. Marquis lost possession and then wins it back rather aggressively on the far side, but not illegally, in the opinion of the referee, with his challenge on Andre. On João Gomez, rather, and away comes Shrewsbury up towards halfway. 16 to go in the first half. 2-1. Forward comes Ruffles. Out to the left for a touch from Klukas. I'm interested to see how Shrewsbury play it now, because they're behind, but they're in the game at 2-1, aren't you? You're only one more mistake away from getting right back in it.
Yeah, from a neutral's perspective, this is kind of makes the game more competitive, doesn't it? We were at the point of going through the motions, but equally as a Wolves fan, I'm happily going through the motions and getting us in the hat for the next round. So it's a fine line, but yeah, Shrewsbury will be wanting to probably shore up. They'll see this as an opportunity now. Within one goal, you're always absolutely in the game, aren't you?
Yeah, 30th minute. Ball slipped forward on the Shrewsbury right. And a stumble by Perry under the attentions of Andre. Andre sends it back for Krejci. And he's got time to try and pick a slot. Forward to João Gomez. Holding off. Is he going to keep holding off Perry? Eventually the free kick's given against Perry. And Gomez plays it short to Andre. Now here's Santiago Bueno. Out to the right, and Doherty crossing the halfway line. 15 to go in the first half on BBC Radio WM on all frequencies and on your smart speaker. Don't forget, you can ask that new smart speaker you've got for Christmas. You haven't worked out what to do with it yet. You can ask it to play BBC Radio WM and you'll get us all hours of the day and night. Here's Wolfer from the left, including Daz Hale. It's a bit of a threat. Ball played across for Arias to have a go from distance, and the keeper moved quite late to that, but I think he was pretty comfortable. Harrison seen that was going to go well wide, and so it did.
And there's a bit of confidence, isn't it? But he almost could have taken it just a little bit further on. He had a bit of time in front of him, but he took it, actually, strike with the ball almost semi-behind him. A little bit of a decoy, but the keeper had it well covered.
It's the voice of Claire Hakeman, the former Wolves women defender. I keep saying captain. You were captain at
I was
times,
captain for a little spell.
Well, do.
I think Anna Price must have been injured, so
that's
but for a spell.
She's not here. We'll say captain.
Yeah.
Here's Hwang playing the ball forward. Gomez, he's onside. João Gomez, and he knocks it into the middle, and it should have been a goal, but it wasn't. It's cleared off the line. João Gomez's initial shot was scuffed, and it fell towards Larson, who looked as though he was going to ram it in at the far post, but a defender just beat him to it.
Oh, he so should have scored, shouldn't he, João Gomez? It's great play there. Hwang linking up, so much space there for Hwang, but you know, it's a good run from, and it's not across, is it? He scuffs the shot, I think, but equally, I don't know whether Strand Larson was fully expecting it, but he's well defended. Strand Larson couldn't quite get there.
Was well defended. The man on the line, Hall, had to turn 180 degrees on one leg there to try and make sure that Larson wouldn't get that. Did a good job of it. And it stays 2-1 to Wolves with 13 to go in the first half. And Andre, with a good swerve of the hips, sent a Shrewsbury player the wrong way and allowed him a bit of space to play it forward. Now knocked on by Arias, and a good control by Hwang. He's waving Wolfer forward ahead of him. Plays it out to the left. Wolfer's more or less alongside him, and now he cuts in field. Wolfer trying to link up with his Norwegian teammate Larson. Back to Andre to recycle it again, out to Chachua on the right. Wolves have 7 men forward. Chachua going to try and pick one out. Krejci side foots it wide, another good chance. Krejci joined the attack late, arrived at the right moment. The finish wasn't right.
Yeah, but it's well worked again from Wolves, and it's a great ball from Chachua. He's doing what we've been just talking about, just taking his player on one-on-one, and just chips a pass into the back post, and you feel like he was under a little bit of pressure, but Krejci should hit the target from there.
I think he'll certainly think he should have done. There was a little bit of traffic ahead of him, but look, if you get it on target, hitting it first time like that, you might just get a deflection that takes it in.
I think he's almost trying to place it a little bit too much in that bottom corner, isn't he? But equally, it's a good move from Wolves, and nice and patient, but direct in the build-up as well.
Has scored 2 goals already for Wolves. Ladislav Krejci, the most recent of them, a very well-placed header at Old Trafford just before the new year. Also scored earlier this season against Leeds, in a game of which we don't speak much. 12 minutes to go to half-time. Wolves 2, Shrewsbury 1. Back to halfway come Shrewsbury. I don't know why they're not playing in blue today. I thought they ought to be, but they're playing in pink anyway. Forward down the left-hand side, it's worked by Marquis, trying to get Morgan away in the corner, and he appeals that he's won a corner, and he has. And a corner's a great leveller in games like this, isn't it? Because you were just saying about how tall Shrewsbury are. You could, Premier League or not, you've still got to defend the high ball against the big man. Yeah,
and the set pieces wise, they've got some really big players in that mix there. But like you say, it's a great leveller, isn't it? A set piece, anyone gets the ball first, and you can get a goal.
35th minute. Here's the corner from the Shrewsbury left from Morgan, and it's glanced away by Wolfer at the back of a crowd in front of the far post. Did well to keep his eye on that. João Gomez holds off Ruffles, and a lovely confident turn by Krejci at the edge of his own penalty area. not only defeated Marquis, but then carried the ball forward 20 yards. He does have a touch of class about him, Ladislav Krejci. Now Doherty, good first time pass forward by Hwang, chased by Arias, defender just got there first. Hall again did well, but that's a nice pass by Hwang, who seems to be linking the play up quite well.
Yeah, he's finding so much space in there, isn't there? And it is absolutely a confidence builder, but equally it's something that wouldn't happen regularly in the Premier League.
No,
it's a tough one when you play these kind of games, but equally I think the confidence to this group at the moment is so important.
He does have days where he looks a bit of a player, doesn't he, Hwang Chan? And today, as you say, he's found space, but he's played smart passes.
And he scores some ridiculous goals along the way
does
for us. So he is a
yeah.
player, but I also absolutely believe he's a confidence player, and he needs a run of games to get himself back in. And you feel like you're at that point with him now, and he is probably one of our strongest attacking options.
I understand why he frustrates players, and when his mistakes never look good. Why he frustrates fans, I get that. It's interesting to hear successive managers talk about how much he understands the game, and how sharp he is to get what's being asked of him. If you could deliver it a little bit more often, that would win everybody round. They're leading 2-1 here, Wolves, with 9 minutes to go in the first half. Santi Bueno brings the ball back to halfway and gives it to the Wolves captain today, Matt Doherty. And it is Everton 0, Sunderland 1 up on Merseyside. Enzo Lefay, who missed a penalty, going for the Panenka penalty for Sunderland the other day, has scored today on Merseyside, which I bet has upset the chap who was sat in front of me on Wednesday and really didn't enjoy the second half commentary very much, I'll be honest with you. I don't think he enjoyed the game either. Here's ball played over to the left hand side and Hwang, and it's headed out of play by Cabia for a throw. I didn't have you there as you as bodyguard the other day at Everton. The second half, they were getting pretty upset in the second half near the press box.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, it was such an edgy second half, which was really pleasing because I thought the first half was a little bit flat.
Yeah.
And there wasn't like masses to talk about at half time while we were having a brew, but second half had a bit of everything.
I found it quite an amusing second half personally, but it wasn't a universally shared opinion in the stadium. Krejci lifting a ball forward down the left-hand side, chased by Wolfer, who's wrong-footed. Hall, keepers all over the place again as Wolfer hooks the ball back into the middle over his head, but unfortunately for Wolves didn't find Larson. I'm not quite sure where Eli Harrison thought he was going there, but he got away with it. Forward by João Gomez. Oh, good touch by Hwang again. Wrong-footed McDermott and a cross from Wolfer, and that's a corner knocked behind by Hall. And again, there's a few champagne touches in there from Wolves.
Yeah, he's managed to carry great touch on his back foot, almost totally misled the defender there and played it in. But he's getting time to enjoy his football, isn't he? I do. The time and space that he's being allowed is helping him to show what a good player he is.
Third Wolves corner of the first half. Across to the near side comes Andre, to some polite applause from the North Bank, who were very excited to see Mateus Mane going and warming up a few moments ago. Andre takes the corner from the left, and keeper's got it. He's managed to work himself a bit of space there, Eli Harrison. He seemed slightly surprised we ended up with the ball in his hands, but he was actually well positioned for it, and he's bowled it well out to the right-hand side of McDermott, and Wolves could be just slightly stretched here by Shrewsbury. As the ball's carried out by Morgan, who showed good balance on it to steer it back to Ruffles, and now working it to the left. They've managed to get 4 into the penalty area. If they can supply a ball in now, it's chipped into Morgan, who crumpled under the attentions of Santiago Bueno, and then a free kick conceded by Marquis trying to win the ball back. And Bueno's stood up to Morgan there. Morgan, we haven't seen much of him, but he looks like a player who's come through a good background at Swansea and Brentford. He's got 1 or 2 good touches, but Bueno was a bit strong for him there.
Yeah, and I think he's only just come to Shrewsbury but gone straight into that starting 11. Yeah. So there must be the thought around him. They've also signed a lot of loan from Sunderland, I believe, who's on the bench. So again, players playing 21s football that are probably getting lots of game time. They're probably match fit and nice and sharp, ready to go. But yeah, wanting to prove themselves at this level.
Apparently there was a documentary about Ewan Morgan I was reading on the S4C channel last year, but I haven't quite got the language skills to watch it and tell you what it said.
Subtitles now?
Well, it's fun. Jonathan Davis on Rugby Play used to do a sort of chat show on S4C, which was, if you watch the subtitles, was hilarious and quite naughty. But anyway, here's a ball from the right-hand side. It's not one I watched a lot. Chatua puts a cross in from the right. It's easily caught by the goalkeeper. And Harrison gets rid of that quickly down the centre. He's looking for Morgan. It's headed back and away by Santi Bueno. And good control by Ruffles, taking it away from Arias, out to the left-hand side, and Klukas. And even though the Shrewsbury goal came out of nowhere, it slightly steadied them because they were really struggling in the first 20 minutes. And now they at least look as though they've settled into it. And now the goalkeeper's giving the ball away to Larson. Oh dear, it's 3-1. Larson gets a gift from Eli Harrison. The goalkeeper caught out, passed the ball straight to him, and Larson stroked it back past the goalkeeper, showing no mercy into an empty net, and it's 3-1 Wolves out of nowhere.
Oh, he took it obviously so quickly as well, didn't he? He almost rushed it off. I really feel for the keeper in that. Like, he's a young lad on loan, like making his way in the game. It's a harsh world as a goalkeeper as it is, but you know, it's a blatant error. That's really not. Strand Larsen's just gone to give the goalkeeper a high five, just to say almost like, sorry mate, I had to do that. Like,
yeah, actually, that
it's so, and that's really nice. And you know what? All you hear about Strand Larsen around the place about how positive he is with the younger players that do come up into the squad. So that's great from him. Like,
yeah, do you know what? That is actually quite a classy thing to do from Jørgen Larsen, because it's a horrid moment. Eli Harrison's 19. He's on loan from Manchester United. And he's now that goal's going to get replayed a lot, obviously, because of the nature of it. And Larsen's here to do well for his team, but he's not here to embarrass anybody personally, but that's business. And now it's 3-1 to Wolves, and you can scratch that line that I was just saying about Shrewsbury looking more confident in the game, because they're immediately set back by that.
And it's just a gift, isn't it? Like, it's a gift when were actually finding their way in the game.
They might follow again. Keeper's come a long way for this ball that's slipped forward down the left by Andre. Wolfer nearly got there, and he's feeling the effects of his sprint. In fact, he might have tweaked something in his sprint to get after it. The goalkeeper just beat him to it. He is positive to the point of reckless at times, young Eli Harrison, which has got him into trouble a couple of times in this game already. And it nearly did again there. Out to the right from Arias. Ball played down the touchline for Hwang. And back for Chatua. And Doherty, with 3 minutes to go in the first half, in which quite a lot has happened. Wolves leading Shrewsbury by 3-1. Sometimes these games against the lower division side can be a bit sterile. There's actually been quite a lot to notice and admire and occasionally wince at in this first half, but certainly talking points. Andre trying to play in Wolfer there was a big gap to play that pass into. Cabby had just got over to cut it off, otherwise Wolfer had probably been right in on the keeper as well.
Yeah, there's so much space to exploit, isn't there, at the moment? It feels like they're just a little bit more stretched, and the intensity of the game maybe at times will stretch Shrewsbury a little, but you know, they've done well on the whole. They've kept possession well, but it's just that we've been a bit more direct and, as you'd expect, created a lot more and had a lot of the possession. And
on occasions they do look wide open, Shrewsbury, don't they? I mean, there are some things we can note in their performance today which tell us why they're fighting quite hard to stay in League Two.
No one's
could
exposed.
Be going out of the league.
No one's exposed yet at the bottom of League Two, so they're all absolutely fighting and scrapping for every point at the moment, and the games come thick and fast, don't they, at that level? And
they do. Only 19 points in League Two, so they're a point outside the bottom two, and we are seeing some of the reasons for that in this game. Here is Anderson taking the ball to the right-hand side, trying to shape a pass into the penalty area for Marquis, but he missed the target, and it's gone through to Sam Johnston, who, like most goalkeepers, will be absolutely fizzing that he's not going to get a clean sheet out of this game when he's really all he's done is pick a penalty out of his net.
Yeah, I think it's the thing, isn't it? This would have been one of the aims for the game, would have been to take a clean sheet, I'm sure, but you know, you can't factor in those moments, and that's a little bit of decision making, isn't it, for Arias, and a bit of learning to take from the game.
That's true. A minute to go in the first half, and here's João Gomes playing the ball to the right, and Arias, and worked it through a little space back to Andre, this is where Wolves have looked efficient to me in this game. In the sort of middle of the park, they've moved the ball around with confidence. I know they're playing against a team that's not as tight to them. It's not quite like a Premier League game, but you still got to do it.
Yeah, and I think with 3 at the back, we've got a lot of flexibility, haven't we? And you will see, we've seen Krejci a couple of times step into that position and travel forward because we can almost afford to do so.
Clip over the top from Krejci. Larsson not chasing that one. Harrison catches it and flings the ball out to his left. Ooh, Larsson's going to try and pick his pocket again, and he nearly did. My goodness. Harrison just got the ball away. He appeared to be blissfully unaware that Larsson was coming almost from behind him to try and steer the ball. A shout might have helped. Wolfer plays the ball back to Krejci. Now, Santiago Bueno, edge of his own box, striding forward, confident to play a pass to Arias. We're playing 2 added minutes at the end of the first half. And here's Krejci striding onto the ball down the left. Slips it infield for Andre. And Krejci again. Hwang's trying to find a pocket of space. It's played into Arias, edge of the area. Now Hwang, first time cross, just deflected off the feet of the defender. That was a shame because he fizzed it in quickly and early, looking for Larsson, but Cabby had just tapped it away.
Yeah, Larsson will be just desperate to get a hat-trick, won't he, in this kind of game? And, you know, it's an opportunity to get him back up and running and confident off the back of a great assist on Wednesday evening. So, you know, these games are important.
Bit of room for Shrewsbury down the left here. They've got in behind Chachua. And Santi Bueno stopped the cross coming in from Sam Klukas. And it's gone away for a Shrewsbury throw in front of their supporters. We've played almost a minute of added time at the end of the first half. Wolves leading Shrewsbury 3-1 on BBC Radio WM. And it's Cheltenham 0, Leicester 2 now. Steffi Mavididi adding to the earlier goal from Patson Daka in one of the other 3 early kickoffs. Macclesfield leading against Crystal Palace with a goal from Paul Dawson. So that's going to be an interesting second half for Macclesfield, 2 divisions outside the Football League at the moment. In front against Crystal Palace in one of the most attractive looking ties of the round. Wolves have cleared the corner. Arias running onto the ball, but a heavy touch was let him down there because if Arias had kept tighter control, he might have been able to take it all the way through from halfway. Andre for Wolves to try and maybe set up one more attack in this first half. Forward from João Gomez. Tackle was arriving from McDermott, but he got the pass away to Wolfer. Infield to Hwang, a bit surrounded by defenders. So he loses possession. And McDermott, he's now turned straight into João Gomez, who was a bit too robust there in the referee's opinion. And gives Shrewsbury a free kick. And that finishes the first half, in which, I mean, there were a lot of very satisfactory things from Wolves. They put 3 goals away, bit of a bonus coming near the end. A few careless moments, but I mean, the main thing is that they're comfortably in the lead here. Yeah,
and creating lots of chances. You know, the boys are enjoying possession, they're being creative and, you know, spending a lot of time in the final third, which, you know, hasn't been a regular for us this season. And so, you know, it feels like a good opportunity for the lads to really build and get their confidence up.
2 goals for Larsson, 1 for Arias. We've seen a little bit of both sides of Arias. With his carelessness to concede the penalty, but he took the goal really well and he's involved quite a lot in midfield in this role.
I think he plays in between the lines so well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He hovers in between different areas and tries to be creative when he does get the ball and plays in the pockets of space that we don't, you know, it's out of structure in a way, so it's hard to defend against for Shrewsbury, so they have struggled with him in that sense. But yes, just a little bit of naivety and being sensible, reading we're almost reading the room. There's no VAR. A player's going to go down and get a chance for a penalty if they can. And I think there was enough in it for the referee to think about it. And that moment, obviously, let them back into the game. But I think equally Wolves have come back again strong and still creating plenty of chances and very comfortable in this one at the moment.
Easier to learn lessons when you're winning, though. Half-time at Molineux in the FA Cup 3rd round on BBC Radio WM. Wolverhampton Wanderers 3, Shrewsbury Town 1.
Yeah, and of course it was Hwang who gave the ball away leading up to the penalty as well. So they really need, I think that 3rd goal's just calmed everybody down. And when they were coasting at 2-0, Mike and Claire, you made the point that it would be really good for them to keep the foot down on the accelerator here, and they're kicking into the South Bank in the second half, and it wouldn't do anyone here any harm if they could go on and get another 2 or 3 goals, but it obviously keep it tight at the other end as well.
Yeah, I think they've got to it's almost like enjoying the football, but don't mess around. Rob Edwards will want to see this through and do it comfortably. He won't want to, it will certainly be a question that he'll be disappointed that we've lost that clean sheet, I think, in this kind of game. But it's an opportunity, and we know that the subs are going to come on and it's going to mess with the structure and then make it a little bit bitty in the second half. But we've got to go and get the job done, hopefully get a few more goals and get us in the hat for the next round.
So far, so good at Molyneux then. It's Claire Hakeman and Mike Taylor. We're on BBC Radio WM. Also this afternoon on BBC Sounds and on your smart speaker. It's the first of 5 live FA Cup third round ties for you this weekend. 2 tomorrow, another 2 today. The Blues game at Cambridge is on. There was a pitch inspection at midday. That's been past fit. So 2 games at 5:45, Tottenham against Villa and Cambridge against Blues. And then tomorrow afternoon, Norwich, Walsall and Swansea versus Albion. And we'll build up to all of those games during the half-time interval here.
Sarah Julian at breakfast.
So let's talk to somebody who loves the city, who wants to celebrate it. Laura McEwen, who runs a food and drink blog called Bite Your Brum.
It's been an interesting year for Birmingham, and it does feel like an uphill battle defending Birmingham, especially from the outside looking in. I have family who live an hour away, and they think we're either riding around on rats chasing our bins or something horrible's happening across the road. There is a balance between acknowledging the city has problems and also trying to find the fact that we live here, we want it to be a good place.
Sarah Julian at breakfast.
Back Monday morning when you wake up.
On BBC Radio WM.
BBC Radio WM Sport.
On FA Cup third round weekend. So half-time at Molyneux, Wolves 3, Shrewsbury Town 1. The other half-times, Cheltenham 0, Leicester City 2. Cheltenham, of course, in League 2. Daka and Mavadidi, the goals in the first half for Leicester. In the All-Premier League clash, it's Everton 0, Sunderland 1. Lafayette missed that Panenka in midweek with the goal. So he's Sunderland 1 up at Everton. Potential shock on the cards. Macclesfield of National League North lead Crystal Palace of the Premier League by 1-0 at half-time. And then the only other match is that game at Molyneux where it's Wolves 3, Shrewsbury Town 1. So 2 more games to come at 5:45 today on BBC Radio WM. One of them the All-Premier League clash as Villa go to Tottenham. And with Villa flying high in both the Premier League and the Europa League at the moment, Unai Emery says the emphasis is now on to maintain their consistently high level of performances.
We are ambitious and we set our standard high, and to keep it is our objective. How we can improve everything around the club is my responsibility. Of course, my first responsibility is to try to get performance on the field with the player, with our tactics, with our mentality, with the player, how I can manage them and how I can get the best of them. But as well, we had the responsibility, and myself, I am involved in it, to try to increase everything. How? Through Premier League, to try to be in European position, to try to be in the top position like we are now, to keep it. Of course, to keep it against the team they are, it's very difficult. If we were watching yesterday the match, Arsenal-Liverpool, wow, what a match. The level for both teams. And Liverpool behind us with the level he showed yesterday. Wow. Of course, the difficulties for us in Palace, the difficulties for Manchester United in Burnley, or Tottenham in Bournemouth, or Chelsea in Fulham. It's a very difficult Premier League for every team.
So that's Unai Emery. Plenty more from him later. So at 5:45, Tottenham Hotspur against Aston Villa. Tom Marlowe and Gary Thompson, our team in North London. Also at 5:45, game on at the Abbey Stadium. Cambridge United of League 2 against Blues of the Championship. It was a League 1 fixture last season. Richard Wilford and Darren Carter, our team in Cambridgeshire. And of course, Blues just a really, really tough time of it away from home, haven't they, this season? And Chris Davies knows that a trip to Cambridge and their boss, Neil Harris, will be similar to the physical battles that they've had on their travels in League One last season.
Yeah, it'd be very similar. I think Neil's done a good job. We played them back end of the season, but they've been strong in League Two, good defensively. They've got some threats going forward. So yeah, I think he's turned that around well as they've gone down a league, and could be very reminiscent of many of the games we had last season.
There's no surprise. Cambridge are playing that way. It's quite reminiscent of what he did at Millwall in terms of the way he set them up.
Yeah, I think they're, from what I can see, the best or one of the best defensive teams definitely in League Two. Don't give a lot away, make it difficult, physical. So, and you could see, he was early at Cambridge when we went there, even at the last game of the season, you could see the sort of team they could develop into. So, and they are that now. So, as I say, we've been here many times, actually, these type of games, so where you're expected to go and, get a result, but it's not always straightforward. So we have to use that experience of last season, particularly in a game like this.
And in terms of the team that you can put out, it's not like you have a lot of players who haven't seen any football at all. It's going to be back in the balance right, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. I think from my point of view, it's putting a team out firstly to win the next match. I think that's the thing. We're away from home. That's an area we need to improve. So we've got an opportunity to go and win a match. We've got to continue some of the momentum that we've had. If there's any red flags and players need a rest, then we have to look at that. But otherwise, it's it's the next match, and that's what we've got to go for. So and try to build on the momentum that we've started.
That's Chris Davis. A Tottenham Villa full match commentary on FM. Cambridge Blues will have updates on FM, but that game also on DAB, also on Freeview Channel 714 on your telly, and once again on BBC Sounds and your smart speaker. On to tomorrow then, with two games kicking off at 2:30 in the FA Cup. And having lost there on New Year's Day, it's a swift return to Swansea for West Bromwich Albion in the All-Championship clash in South Wales. The Baggies, of course, with James Morrison in interim charge for the second time in 9 months. The former midfielder was part of Ryan Mason's coaching staff, and he says they also take responsibility for the poor run that led to his departure.
Top man, top coach, so on that front, disappointed, but understand football's a results business, and now we look forward to representing the football club as best as we can.
Is there a feeling, I'm trying to find the right word, not necessarily guilt, but obviously that the head coach takes the responsibility and that the ultimate cost is losing his job? Do you guys as a coaching staff also feel bad and part of that responsibility?
Yes, 100%. Simple answer is yes. We've been connected to this football club a long time, and we want the best for the football club. And we're always working every day to reach that goal. And when it doesn't happen, you take it with you in football.
That was James Morrison. So no official confirmation yet of the appointment of Eric Ramsey, but Morrison will be leading the team tomorrow at Swansea on BBC Radio WM. Also at 2:30 tomorrow, another potential upset here. Do you think Walsall head to Carrow Road to fight Championship strugglers Norwich? Now, the Sadler squad looks a bit different to when they were last in action just over a week ago. Ryan Finnegan, Jida KK and Dan Cox have all been recalled from their loans. But the Sadlers have added Alex Pattison on a permanent move from Bradford. Now, the Sadlers still have 3 other players on loan at the moment, including Daniel Carnew. But Matt Sadler said they've had quite a lot of... they've heard nothing about that yet, and he admits they've had quite a lot of things change since the last time they were in action.
Yeah, we did, and strangely enough, the 2 of those happened within about 10 minutes or 5 minutes of each other. On whatever day it was, I think it was last Friday or Saturday with when Jid and Ryan were recalled. So, and we had to adapt and think on our feet with that. And by nature of all, we of course we wanted them 2 to stay, and Daniel was slightly different. We want to make sure that he goes and gets game time more consistently away from Derby, potentially on another loan for him. But with Jid and Ryan, yeah, we kind of, it was what it was. But like you've seen from then, we've had to be on our toes to try and replace that. Probably slightly differently to what we've wanted to potentially manoeuvre within this window. But we had to also be on our toes to make sure that we felt we'd mitigated Ryan leaving. So that's unfortunately how it is. And he did fantastically well for us, and there was no surprises in that way that happened because of how well he'd done. And the options that I'm sure Ian wants at his football club. But yeah, it's the nature of it. I think within that spell of 3 or 4 days, if you'd have scrolled BBC Sport, there was a load of other ones that were recalled by different clubs to go into different teams and all of that. It's the nature of the loan window, unfortunately.
You haven't had the other one recalled, though, at the moment, have you?
Rico, no.
No, yes, of course, Enrico.
No.
I know. Well, that's the point, isn't it? That people get concerned because, and I understand why you have lots of loan players. It's a really good thing, and you've done really well with it. But the concern is that always you're going to be not caught on the hot net necessarily, but things are going to they're out of your control. So, I mean, have you got any indications about the others at this point, or are you all right?
First point on that, with it being out of our, it's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is for not only our football club. It's probably only highlighted at our football club because of the success that we've had with it, with loans. So, listen, unfortunately, that's part of it. We have to accept it, and we have to. I certainly don't moan about it. We get on with it. But in terms of the other guys, no, we're just working as hard as we can with them and doing as good a job as we can with them in the same way that we did with Ryan and Jid. We'll just continue on that. And there is a period where that becomes during the month where that then, that recall window closes. And we're not there yet. And we'll just keep working to plan A and plan B until then.
So that was Matt Sadler. So Walsall at Norwich tomorrow afternoon at 2:30, and we'll have that game live as well on DAB, BBC Sounds in your smart speaker, while on FM tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 it's Swansea versus West Bromwich Albion. Still to come this afternoon then at 5:45, those two other cup ties we've mentioned, Spurs against Villa and Cambridge against Birmingham City. The second half will be on the way shortly from our first FA Cup third round tie of the weekend, and the only one of our teams at home. And Wolves at the moment they have 1 foot in the fourth round.
Pass by Krejci. He's Hwang onside. He is at the moment. He taps it past the goalkeeper, and it must be a goal for Larsson. Tucked in with a little flick off his heel. Did it with a slight impishness there, Jørgen Larsson, to finish that chance created by Hwang Hee-chan. The big question was whether Hwang was onside, but the linesman indicating that he was. You don't have to worry about VAR today, and Larsson did the rest, 1-0. And now he's playing one through for Arias after a lovely interchange with Hwang, and this should be 2-0, and it is. And that's a really pretty goal, and Larsson was involved 3 times in that. Firstly working with Hwang, and then supplying another scoring pass, this time for John Arias. And in just 11 minutes, Wolves already a long way to nailing down a place in the fourth round, leading Shrewsbury Town 2-0. Now, Hwang Hee-chan, he played what might have been a good pass for Chachu. It was a bit under hit and picked off by Shrewsbury, and forward they go down the left, and a penalty kick conceded rather carelessly by Arias. In front of the South Bank, John Marquis, and he beats Johnston, sends him the wrong way. And it's Wolves 2, Shrewsbury 1. You can hear the reaction of the away fans to that. And Rob Edwards will be so cross, a goal so carelessly conceded. Now the goalkeeper's given the ball away to Larsson. Oh dear.
And it's 3-1. The second half about to get underway. So let's rejoin our commentary team of Claire Hakeman and Mike Taylor.
Yeah, oh dear didn't quite sum up the entire first half. There were parts of it that were like that. But Wolves leading 3-1. So that was generally a satisfactory showing. But I think he will want them to keep it tidy. I think that's the main thing for the second half. Yeah, go on and score some more goals, but I think he would like to see them just not give Shrewsbury a look in here, Claire.
Yeah, and I think just not being too casual as well and keep possession well. And I mean, ultimately, it's a good opportunity to be creative in maybe different ways, but not also so casual in that we're giving the ball away left, right and centre. So it's almost like being clever with it, being a bit sensible and enjoying the possession that we do have.
Yes, because there was just a spell after the 2-0 goal where just for a few minutes they did look as though they'd slightly lost focus.
Yeah,
and then you end up with the
And then
penalty.
we gave away a penalty. So, you know what I mean? It's almost like we slipped into a casual way. Hwang played a ball that was never really there across the pitch, and it was cut out really easily by Shrewsbury for them to turn the game. So, I think it's just about doing the things the right way. You know, we're the Premier League side. We've got to show that that's what we are and the levels and see the game through properly.
Wolves playing as we see from left to right in the second half. That's attacking we're in the Billy Wright stand, attacking the South Bank. The Jack Hayward stand to our right. They are in gold and black, obviously. Shrewsbury in this sort of off pink. It said pink when I read it in the blurb. It said definitely pink, but it's sort of purple. I want to say mauve. And they are watching Wolves with possession at the moment with João Gomez. Now on the right, Arias back for Doherty and taken on now by Santiago Bueno. The teams are still as we started. Well, look at it. So Johnston in goal, Krejci, Bueno and Doherty the back three for Wolves. Volfer and Chachu with the wing backs. Andre, João Gomez and Arias. And then the two forwards, Hwang and Larson. And for Shrewsbury, Harrison the goalkeeper, who had a slightly accident-prone first half. Hall, Anderson and Boyle the back three. In the wing-backs, Cabia and Klukas right and left. Then Perry and Ruffles in midfield with McDermott, Marquis and Morgan the two forwards. And Wolves work the ball to the left side of the penalty area. Wolfer's attempt to cross is blocked by Cabia, who sends it back down the touchline for a Wolves throw. And from that, they try to build on the left with Ladislav Krejci. He also had a good chance to score in the first half. Across for Andre, wearing gloves, and who could criticise him for that on a day like today? So he's Matt Doherty, and he's the captain. What he says goes. Forward goes Arias. Now Chachua from the right. In fact, now I look around, they're all wearing gloves, apart from Krejci and Santiago Bueno. Here's Chachua crossing from the right. Larson for a hat-trick just over the bar. Decent headed chance from 6 or 7 yards, couldn't quite keep it down.
Yeah, another good delivery from Chachua, wasn't it, down this right-hand side. Been a lot more direct with his play today. One touch out of his feet, gets the ball in. I think he's just slightly behind Strand Larson. He almost tries to generate too much power in flicking his head towards the goal, but yeah, just always sailing just over. But, you know, it looks buzzy, doesn't he, Strand Larson? Great to see him getting some minutes and a bit of positive energy around him at the moment.
Yeah, and look, maybe at the end of the month he won't still be here. I'm not talking that up or down, it's just facing facts. That we know there has been interest in him. There's been chat about more interest in him for this window. We'll see if it actually amounts to anything. But whether he ends up staying or whether he doesn't, an in-form Jørgen Strand Larsen is good news for Wolves. It's obviously good news if he stays, and if he's in form and somebody comes in for him, then you can get a decent price for him. That's life.
Yeah, and I think it's the nature of the beast, isn't it? The transfer window opens and lots of players are talked about, and it's about him getting back on the pitch, and I'm sure he is, and I hear lots of positive energy around Compton around him, and the way he holds himself and the way he is around other players in the group. So I think if you can get him back scoring, he'll add absolute value to this team.
Yeah, I must say, you never hear you occasionally hear whispers about players. Oh, he's causing bother, or he's this and that. You don't hear that about Jørgen Larsen. Chachua back to the goalkeeper, Harrison. Johnston, who hits it high towards the halfway line, and Arias, headed back by Will Boyle for Shrewsbury. Bit of space here for Taylor Perry to play in. Moves it out to his left, taken on by Marquis. And hits the ball from left to right for Shrewsbury and Cabia. And there's a little bit of zip about this Shrewsbury move. If they can get the next pass right. And it was Cabia had stopped on the right touchline. If he'd have been switched on, he might have anticipated the pass that was coming from Tommy McDermott, but he didn't, and so it's gone out for a goal kick. Ismail Cabia, he's on loan from Arsenal to Shrewsbury. And has showed a little bit of pace and guile at times in the first half, but not there. Here's Chachua on the Wolves right. Now back for Arias. Infield to Hwang. Tapped it short for Chachua. And he had an idea that the next pass was going to be for Larsen. It wasn't quite accurate enough. And Shrewsbury work it back to their goalkeeper Harrison, who clears. And flicked backwards by Krejci. McDermott nearly ran onto that for Shrewsbury. But Wolves tied it up and then lost it again. McDermott has released a bit of space here for Taylor Perry to the edge of the penalty area, and a cross drilled in from the right by Morgan wins a corner. It was a good delivery from the on loan player from Brentford, and Marquis was the target, and it had to be slid behind for a corner.
Yeah, it was good play from Taylor Prairie, wasn't it? Really aggressively driving the ball, got us into a tricky position, got Shrewsbury a good ball, and then it's a good block from Doherty just before it reaches the near post of Sam Johnston. But a bit of positive energy around Shrewsbury, actually, the way that they've come out this second half.
That might have been tricky for the goalkeeper if it hadn't. Here's the corner from the right and headed back where it came from by Doherty. And it's going to be a throw, I think, right next to the corner flag. So Perry picks up a different ball and throws it to Ewan Morgan. We'll see if he's got a long throw. He's going to try from just in front of the Shrewsbury fans in that corner. They're all along the lower Steve Ball stand. They've just about filled that. In comes the long throw, headed out by Wolfer to the edge of the penalty area and set back towards halfway, where it'll be recycled again by Cabia, put up to the edge of the penalty area, and Santi Bueno's taken a crashing fall there under the attentions of Marquis. So it's going to be a free kick to Wolves. We have had 7 minutes of the second half, and Wolves lead Shrewsbury by 3-1. Elsewhere in the FA Cup third round, Cheltenham 0, Leicester 2, Everton 0, Sunderland 1, and Macclesfield 1, Crystal Palace 0. All those games early in the second half. And that clearly the big upset that's on the cards. Macclesfield 5 divisions below the holders Crystal Palace. Wow. But that would be a spectacular shock if they can pull that off. Andre playing the ball to the left-hand side. Slightly juggled at the feet of João Gomez, but he showed good composure to hold off the attentions of Tommy McDermott, at least as long as it took the referee to decide it was a foul. And from the quick free kick, Larsson's worked it to Chachua on the right. 3 waiting for a cross. Chachua, oh no, he couldn't get around Klukas, who stuck to him and kicked the ball back against Chachua and out for a goal kick. And yeah, we've seen that he can supply. What we need to see him is supply more regularly.
Yeah, I think it's almost like he needs to mix it up a little bit. Strand Larson had hung back there for the pullback, and at the moment he's predictably going one touch out of his feet, try and take the player on, get the ball in the box, but just mixing up. This is a great opportunity for us to try different things and be creative in different ways and really try and stretch Shrewsbury to find the gaps to create chances for us. So, but yeah, I think he's been good on the ball today. It's good to see him get lots of crosses in the box and be pretty much massively involved in our attacking action today.
3-1 Wolverhampton Wanderers on BBC Radio WM, 8 minutes into the second half. The first of 3 FA Cup commentaries today. Later we'll have Tottenham against Aston Villa. That'll be on 95.6 FM and our commentary on the BBC Sport website if you want to follow it there. Or Cambridge against Birmingham City. It'll be on DAB and Freeview. If you're listening to either of those services now, you'll get Cambridge against Blues at 5:45, and also that game will be on BBC Sounds. So if you're listening to us now on BBC Sounds, and noting the fact that we've got a commentary on BBC Sounds today, which I can't do all the time, but we can for the FA Cup. So you'll find the Blues game there at 5:45. Arias with a chance to play a pass forward. Huang's made a good run across the penalty area left to right. Picks it up now near the byline and then played a pass which asked a little bit too much of Larsson. And it's forced away by Ruffles. And again, that's more of what we've seen from Huang. Some really good stuff and then not enough precision on his touches.
Yeah, it's a great run in behind, really well timed, in behind the defence. Really difficult for Shrewsbury to defend against, but great ball again from Arias. He's finding that space, stretching Shrewsbury very much so, but it's just that final little ball Strand Larson hadn't quite read where he was going with it.
Doherty plays this in onto the chest of Larson, headed back to Gomez, who makes a bit of room away from Taylor Perry. They wanted him to shoot. Instead, he played a really cute 1-2 with Huang, and then it was well defended on the 18-yard line by Boyle, who kept his eye on the ball, not the man. And a clearance by Klukas. This one for Morgan to chase. Santiago Bueno should deal with this. Nearly worked it through there. Again, that was a lovely return pass from Huang. And you can see why, as I mentioned in the first half, successive managers talk about his intelligence in the game. That's not the question. It's just whether his actual product is good enough sometimes. Andre, across for João Gomez, across lifted in there by Wolfer. And headed firmly clear. McDermott picks up that for Brentford. Wolfer tried to stop him, but He's carried on McDermott, and he's got an option left and right. Tommy McDermott's carried it a long way and decides he might as well have a pop himself from 20 yards. Drives it into the shins of Santiago Bueno. But Shrewsbury will have another chance with Cabia coming in from the right side of the penalty area. And looks to go outside. Wolfer gets his cross in, and it's avoided the one defender. Klukas running onto it, clips his shot in, and it had to be tapped away from near the line by Santiago Bueno. Kept his cool there as Wolves looked a little bit stretched to deny Klukas.
Wow, I mean, that all comes from Wolf losing the ball in the middle of the pitch. Shrewsbury were actually 4-on-3 there, and they really didn't take the opportunity that they had, where they really had us stretched at that moment in time. But I think Wolves just looked a little bit shaky, didn't they, at the back there? Just about cleared it off the line there. I'm not sure he meant that, Santi Bueno. He sort of scuffed it but managed to get it away.
I think it might have deflected off another defender on its way through, and Klukas did the right thing, hit it low and on target, so it had to be dealt with.
Yeah, there was a couple of good chances in that one move for Shrewsbury, wasn't there, to get the shot away, or maybe move the ball a little bit quicker to the free player, but good opportunity. But that's the warning, isn't it? We don't want to take this game to be, within a goal again, because it absolutely opens up the door for Shrewsbury to get back in.
I say Klukas, he's playing in an unorthodox position for him at the left wing back, but there are still little touches, and you see at 35 he's obviously in the twilight of his career, but he still looks a good footballer.
He's also playing against the fastest player on the pitch, probably, statistically. Yeah. So, he's doing a brilliant job on Chachua. Yes, he's got some crosses in on him, but when he's took him to run at him, he's stuck with him where he can.
He was a £6 million player once, Sam Klukas. That was the time where £6 million felt like a lot of money as well. Stoke paid that for him. Now forward by Arias toward Joao Gomez. Has a second try. Good lay back by Hwang. Now Arias has found Larson for a hat-trick. That's an excellent goal. A really good goal to make it 4-1, and Jorgen Strand Larson has got 3 of them. Played in again by Arias, but the movement in that build-up was high quality from Wolves, and the finish was deadly. 3 for Larson, and Wolves advancing into the 4th round. They lead Shrewsbury 4-1.
I'm absolutely buzzing for Strand Larson. I just think, he's deserved that. His work ethic today, he's really driven the team forward, and, he's taken his chances. He might have had one more, but, it's a great way for him to state a statement getting back into this starting 11 today. But Arias drives that through. He's onside as well. He's timed his run brilliantly. Great little first touch just to control it, takes it away from the defender, and it's he's slotted comfortably. But you know what? The couple of chances he's had today, he's just showed that level of composure that he has. He's comfortable and composed. It tells you everything that a bit of confidence does to a player.
I can see what you mean looking at the replay. It's a good build-up in the first place. Arias involved twice. Nice cushion pass from Hwang Hee-chan in the middle of that as well that kept Arias going forward. But Larson's first touch when the ball comes to him on his left foot, and the little touch absolutely tees it up for the finish. That's a classy bit.
Yeah, and he's a technically brilliant player. I think he's done brilliantly for Norway. Probably doesn't get the minutes with Haaland around, but he's a top class striker that scored double figures in the Premier League last season. So he's absolutely got the abilities, finding that confidence back to impact for the team in the Premier League. 3
goals this season before today, and 3 more today, and an assist as well for Arias' goal. Joao Gomez trying to go forward, but stopped by Marquis, and then a careless pass puts it out for a throw. And now the Wolves fans here today, and there's more than were predicted, I would suggest. But they've not only been rewarded by 4 goals, but now they're going to get a comeback for Rodrigo Gomez, and they're going to get half an hour of Mateus Mane as well. So they're in bonus territory. Mane for Joao Gomez is the first change. So there's loud applause for Joao Gomez as there usually is, and everybody's excited to see Mane. And Jackson Chachua is coming off, and Rodrigo Gomez, the most smiley character to play for Wolves in quite a long time, and he has come back on, having been out of action since the end of October. He's missed 12 games, and he's back on, and
the crowd have woken up, haven't they?
Yeah, well, look, tell you what, as an 18-year-old running on, you haven't even touched the ball yet. and you're getting that. How much do you feel now?
Oh, honestly, everyone at the academy has been so proud to see the way that he's broken through. He spent the first half of the season with the under-21s with us, and nothing changes for him. His work ethic, his demeanour, everything, the ability is absolutely there, and it's so good that he's actually shown himself the way that he has done in the last few games for Wolves.
Yes, it really has been impressive in many ways. 61st minute, Arias on the right linking with a first touch for Rodrigo Gomez, and now Doherty and Arias from the right. Doherty again. Shrewsbury now don't know whether to stick or twist. They're giving Wolves lots of room. Santiago Bueno to Krejci and to Mane. You can probably tell with a frisson of excitement on the south bank as soon as the ball comes to him. Hwang trying to find him again, but the defender's alert to that, sweeps it away from him. And a foul conceded by Arias on the edge of the centre circle. I met Matheus Mane very briefly after the West Ham game in the sort of scrum of interviews. And what I was struck by as an 18-year-old who just played 3 big games in a week, his first 3 in the Premier League, played at Anfield, played at Old Trafford, then scored a goal. Everybody wants a piece of him, but he seemed to have an air of just how normal this was. He had the feeling about him was he was just there saying, well, look, this is what I do now. I score goals in the Premier League. He seemed quite relaxed about the whole thing. Yeah,
I think he's comfortable. He's absolutely showing he's good enough for this level. I think that's the main thing. But he has that belief in himself as well. And he's played and come into a team that was struggling with no fear. And actually, I think it's driven the others on around him as well. True. So, it's been a real positive for the season so far.
Must be a lovely feeling. Now Larson with a positive pass for Rodrigo Gomez, who's given Hall the slip. That gives Hwang man and ball. But Taylor Perry got a foot in, but it only cannoned the ball back out to Larson, and Wolves have it again with 28 minutes still to go and leading Shrewsbury by 4-1 in the FA Cup third round. And forward comes Mane. Oops, slight stumble on the ball there against Taylor Perry. He even got cheered for that. And back it comes to the near side. That's academy past and academy present. Taylor Perry against Matheus Mane. I suppose he's not academy present anymore, is he? I suspect he won't be playing too many more games for the under-21s.
No, I don't think at this current moment. Yes. But you know what? Actually, he's that type of lad that if he was called in to play, there was times where he was called into the first team or around it, but he was asking to play because he wanted to keep showing himself on the pitch, because I think he almost knew his moment would come at some point this season, and he's got that belief and confidence, but actually retains the fact that he's a top lad. He's like a really nice boy that holds himself really well and still shows his face at the 18s and the 21s training last week after he finished his first team training, so we still see him plenty around the academy.
Look, if he just likes playing football, there's worse things to feel than that. Enjoy it. He's having the time of his life, and he's on the field now for what should be a routine last half an hour, as much as anything could possibly feel routine to after the fortnight he's had. Forward on the left hand side come Shrewsbury, rather nervously towards halfway. Klukas plays a pass in field. Marquis did well to hold off Santiago Bueno there and play it back for Taylor Perry, who's been a bit more prominent in the last few minutes. Klukas cutting in field to pass the ball to Marquis. Mane's on top of him, so he moves the ball on quickly for Anderson, and out to the right for Ismail Kabia. Up against Wolfer, moves it back, and a shot from way out coming from Josh Ruffles, and it's away towards the corner of the ground. Macclesfield lead Crystal Palace now by 2-0 in the FA Cup. Isaac Buckley Ricketts, the 3 biggest names in FA Cup show business at the moment, has given Macclesfield of the National League North, get my non-league leagues in the right order, in National League North, and they are 2-0 up against the FA Cup holders Crystal Palace, which on the scale of great shocks, if they can complete it, and there is still nearly half an hour to go there, is going to be a pretty big noise for Macclesfield. That might be slightly ahead of this game and match of the day. Here comes Arias, moving forward on the right hand side, slips a pass in field. Hwang sets it back to Andre, and a good pass out to the left for Wolfer, and they all want a piece of this. 5 in the penalty area. Wolfer lifts in across, 2 defenders went for the same ball. Andre with a volley into the arms of the goalkeeper, And he didn't quite have the finish he was looking for, but I like the fact that when they've got a 4-1 lead, Wolves, there's so many Wolves players who still want to get up and have a go.
Yeah, they want to get on the score sheet down there for sure, but yeah, a little bit too controlled, wasn't it there, Andre? He sat up perfectly for him to strike. You wanted Ruben Neves really on the end of that one, and
yes.
you do wonder what... It just looked like that same area as many a goal that he scored that was a worldie, but yeah.
I wonder if he'll still be where he is at the end of January, by the way, Ruben Neves.
Oh, I'd happily take him back.
Oh, yes, I bet you would. There's been a little bit of whispering about his name in various quarters. I'm not necessarily here for Wolves, but to somewhere back in the Premier League. There's a foul conceded by Santiago Bueno just inside the Shrewsbury half, and the player who's gone down, Morgan, has just felt his back go a bit after that collision. So there's going to be a free kick. Michael Appleton, the Shrewsbury manager, standing with arms tightly folded, has had more or less the same expression throughout this game. Occupied himself after that awful third Wolves goal when the goalkeeper had dropped a clanger by taking a long pull of drink and looking to make sure he didn't catch anybody's eye, because for what he must have been thinking at the moment. But a long struggle ahead of Shrewsbury, I think, in the second half of the season. It would feel a bit odd to see Shrewsbury go out of the Football League, I must say, but plenty of other seasoned Football League clubs have gone that way in the recent past. Arias plays a pass down the right, just not quite in the right channel for Rodrigo Gomez, hit a defender instead. And Arias with another foul, and I heard the Shrewsbury player yelp on that one. There must be a balance to strike with Arias, that he can be this more physical, mobile, involved in the game version of John Arias without giving away free kicks every 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's just that little bit naive at times, isn't it? And people are going to take the foul when they feel the contact as well in these sort of moments, but he's just got to be a little bit more clever. He doesn't need to always dive in, and that's just him learning that way. I suppose he hasn't been around the English game too long, so it's a bit of learning for him. But yeah, really good to see Rodrigo Gomez. The energy that he brings is already really evident. He's desperate to get on the ball. So good to see him back on the pitch.
It is, and Wolves needed 1 or 2 more people with a general positive aura about them, and he's certainly that. Paul played forward to Mane, who did very well knocking it past the defender, who Anderson came to attack that ball in good faith, but Mane's first touch was just too quick for him, and it's a yellow card for Anderson, but he's been done there by the quality of the other player rather than, I think, his own intent.
Yeah, and I think Mane's going to see a little bit of that, and I felt like in the first half Everton did a little bit of that, tried to close him down really quickly and almost nip it in the bud so that he couldn't turn and get a run on them. But he's, if he wins free kicks like he did on Wednesday, gets us further up the pitch, that's a positive in itself, isn't it? Yeah,
he's going to, and I'm not saying he isn't already, by the way, but he's going to have to learn to be robust, because there are going to be games in which he gets rattled a fair bit, Mateus Mane, for the reasons you say.
Yeah, I think he's got the resilience though as well, and I think he's a bright lad. He'll keep learning by the more he plays, and he'll get better and better, I think.
Well, he's certainly shaping up well at the moment, and he's playing a pass here for Wolfer to get down the left hand side and cross for Jørgen Strand Larsen, and it's headed behind for a corner. I wondered whether Larsen would necessarily go off after scoring a hat-trick, but they've left him in place, and he might yet be sniffing more. Wolves' first corner of the second half, coming with 21 minutes to go, leading Shrewsbury by 4-1 in the FA Cup third round on BBC Radio WM. With you throughout the weekend on all frequencies and online for our FA Cup coverage, including 2 more games tomorrow. I'll remind you of those in a moment. Here's the Wolves corner, bent in from the left, and it glanced off the head of a defender just before Bueno, I think. Santiago Bueno had got himself in pole position for that for a moment as it swung in, but it's just glanced past him by Anderson.
Yeah, and he's been a threat, hasn't he, Santi Bueno, this season? Krejci, Santi Bueno. So, it's been good to get a couple of those defenders on the score sheet, but it'd be good to make the most of this set piece again. Feels like we're going through the motions again a little bit. I think the subs always break up the play a little bit, and it's hard to find your way back into the game, but plenty of time left.
Another corner then. Andre from the right this time. Hwang has offered to come short to take this. Andre delivers it to the far post, and it's glanced away, and they want a shot here from Rodrigo Gomez. It was pretty well hit. It hit a player inside the box, cannon up in the air. Bueno set it out to the left. Mane, quick feet, cross for Larsson, and a good save by Harrison to deny Larsson a fourth. Mane picked his man out all right, but Larsson couldn't quite finish it. And fair play to the young keeper who had a tough time earlier on, but he's done well there.
Yeah, it's a great save from the keeper, isn't it? It's just such a shame he couldn't quite get it across. He did all the right things, really. Strand Larsson, he couldn't do much else, but it's a brilliant ball. Works a tiny bit of space, and a curling cross literally landing on the head of Strand Larsson, but just couldn't quite find the finish.
Yeah, couldn't have asked for it to be placed better than that. Hwang Hee-chan from the right. Rodrigo Gomez found a good position there to receive a pass, returned it to Hwang. The next pass was stopped. Fer Lopez is coming on shortly by the look of it. This might be a useful 20 minutes for him to play with a bit of space as well. Andre forward, Mane's tapped it into the path of Hwang Hee-chan, who's bought a foul off the defender. And Anderson, I think might have been slightly worried he was going to get another yellow card there. But it's a free kick, and that's all it is. 19 yards out. And again, I think that one came from a Premier League player being too good for an opponent.
Yeah, and I think he just dives in, doesn't he, a little bit. You could almost read where the foul was coming from before it actually happened. But it's a great play. It's just such a shame. Hwang could have literally guided it back into the path of Mane, and we've done that so much and so well today. But he almost knows where the foul's coming. It's not a great deal in it, to be honest.
Yeah, Luca Hall was the offender, in fact. But there's no card shown, and it is a free kick right in the centre. With 19 yards out, Arias has won the raffle by the look of it.
He definitely got hold of that ball very quickly.
There's an enormous Shrewsbury wall, both in the centre. They're all very tall, and there's about 7 of them in it. Arias gets it over them all, but just over the bar as well. Tricky from so close in, really.
I always think with the biggest, tallest wall in the world and being so close on the edge of the box, maybe we could have been a bit creative with that one, because the wall were very connected. We could have easily played around.
Yeah, there were 7 guys in the middle, so a nudge one side or the other might have done it. Oh, hello, Rodrigo Gomez. I thought for a moment he was coming off. He came over, tapped gloves with Fer Lopez as if he was going to go off. But it's not, it's Hwang Hee-chan going off. That's a relief, I was a bit worried then. So Hwang's off, Fer Lopez is on, and Jurgen Larsson's coming off, being replaced by Tolo Arakadari. Scored 3 and made 1. So, well, who says he's not giving his all for Wolverhampton Wanderers these days? He's done pretty well today.
Yeah, and you know what? You don't want the chat to be around, it's only Shrewsbury Town, but it's not easy to go and get a hat-trick at any level. You know, yes, there's going to be a little bit more time and space than in the Premier League, but you've still got to go and make that happen and show your quality.
You can't score a hat-trick if you're phoning it in, and the accusation by some fans earlier in the season was that Jurgen Larsson he's not doing it, not putting enough effort, and not all those things. Well, you don't score a hat-trick if you're doing that. So he has given way. There's also a couple of Shrewsbury changes as well. The attendance, by the way, just been handed to me. 24,258 with nearly 3,000 Shrewsbury fans, but this is a game that, and maybe look, if it had been played a couple of weeks ago, maybe it would have been a low attendance, but it just shows you what a little bit of positivity does, and a sensible pricing policy. 24,000 odd, very good. So and they've made plenty of noise as well. Here's the goal kick taken by Eli Harrison for Shrewsbury with 16 minutes to go on BBC Radio WM. In the first of our 3 FA Cup games today, Daz Hale will be staying with you through the afternoon. We were hoping to bring you coverage of Tamworth against Rochdale in the FA Trophy as well. That game postponed. But if you are either going to a non-league game that's still on, then do let Daz know throughout the afternoon. Or if you were going to go to a non-league game that's off, or if there's been a change at your non-league club, to get the word out to make sure people know whether to go or not, then Daz will take your calls. You can call him on 0808 100 9956, and you can chat to him about any of games going on around the West Midlands, as well as this one, and of course in advance of the later games today. Free kick to Wolves at the edge of their own penalty area. They're leading Shrewsbury by 4 goals to 1. I don't know what's going to become of Fer Lopez in this transfer window either, Claire. I mean, there's been talk that he might go back overseas, but he won't get a better opportunity than this in a way. 15 minutes to play against a tired team who might be allowing him a fair bit of space anyway.
Yeah, and I think he's got something. He's a creative player. It feels like there's a potential there. It's just hard when a team's struggling in the Premier League to give him that exposure and minutes, and when he's still adjusting to the level as well. So I think it's been unfortunate, really, for Lopez. But this is still an opportunity here with 15 minutes to go or so to impact the game.
Yeah, 76th minute, 4-1. John Arias playing the ball in field to Lopez. Now Rodrigo Gomez. And forward by Arias, cut out by Klukas, who then plays a good ball forward to one of the Shrewsbury substitutes who've just come on, Troy Ugasui. And out to the left-hand side it goes now for Klukas, and he's crossed. He's blocked by Rodrigo Gomez, who doesn't know where it's gone. But Doherty does know where it's gone. Comes back to take the ball for a moment, trying to clear it, lost it again to Klukas, who's still a pretty canny customer on this flank, and he works well then with Taylor Perry to get a cross in that's blocked by Doherty and out for a throw. And Sam Klukas at least has not given up here for Shrewsbury. Yeah,
just been a couple of unforced errors there from Wolves in the last just few moments of that slipping into the casual. I'm not sure in the Premier League that Doherty backheels it into the defender.
No.
Just to see what happens. It's just almost that feeling of the game, but you get away with it here, but not in the Premier League.
Perry putting a cross in for Shrewsbury into the penalty area. And headed away by Andre. And there might be a break on now. Mane's going forward. He's got Arakadari one side and Lopez the other. And he tried to feed Arakadari, and it was well defended by Cabia, who just changed the line of his run to intercept that pass. Otherwise, the big man might have been striding through there.
Yeah, I think it may be the wrong ball there from Mane, or the execution of the ball that he was attempting to play as well into Tolu. But disappointing there. 3-on-3 break. Decent breakaway though.
The other substitute who came on just now, incidentally, for Shrewsbury was Jack Loughran, who is a youngster who's had a couple of non-league loans around the West Midlands earlier this season for Shifnal, I think, one of them. He's going to get 15 minutes playing at Molineux, which is would be a pretty big deal at this stage of his career. And also on was Trey Ogunsuyi, who is a young striker, and he's trying to get onto the ball now as it's played forward down the Shrewsbury right. But instead, Wolves win it back, and they've gone early with the Olays in the South Bank, I must say, with 12 minutes to go. Well, whether they can sustain that for 12 minutes in added time, I don't know. But look, there's been enough hard days here to really make the most of the good days, like the West Ham one last weekend and now this one, and it doesn't matter who it's against.
Yeah, and I think the timing of the game, isn't it, in between a good run in the Premier League and a good 7, 8 days into the Newcastle game next here at Molineux next Sunday, it feels like this is a good opportunity just to tick over and do what we've done, really. Obviously it's not done, but...
Oh, Mane with a shooting chance at the edge of the penalty area as the ball suddenly came to him, and he drew a good save from Harrison down to his left. He just popped up in space there, Mateus Mane.
Yeah, it's a great little touch again. He just sneaks in front almost, nicks in front of the defender and creates that moment for him to shoot.
Pass by Andre, played him in and demanded a save from the goalkeeper. It was quite close to Harrison, but he still had to get down for it. And anyway, look, at the moment, Mateus Mane could just stand there whistling popular songs and the South Bank would be all over him, but they did like that. And they'd love it if he popped a goal in. They're all going to shoot here from the left edge of the penalty area. Instead he crosses for Arias, and it's headed away by Hall, but Andre gets into a good position and wins the ball back. Krejci took a bit of a bang on the foot there from Ogunsuyi as he went for that. Wolfer trying to play it in from the left. Did he play it against the defender? It's a corner if he did, and it is. So Wolves are still pushing, which is a good sign.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep going. I think there is almost a feeling, isn't there, that they want to go and get another goal, and that's good, isn't it? That desire that we've got, and scoring goals again, it can only bring a bit of confidence to the team. So also an attempt to just mix it up a little bit. Strikers have had lots of chances today, haven't they? And even that moment is just all good match practice ready for next week's game.
Really is. Against Newcastle here, another game you can hear live on BBC Radio WM. That's next Sunday at 2 o'clock, and we've got 2 Premier League games that day on Sunday the 18th. we're waiting for the corner. The referee is trying to sort out a very bit of minor push and shove. All the pushing being done by Hall on Arakadari to little effect. The corner, when it's clipped in finally, is headed clear to Arias. And they're shouting shoot to everybody at the moment. Krejci back to Rodrigo Gomez. Forward to Mane, waiting for the ball. Gets a second bite at it. As it came to him off Marquis. Now sets back to Arias. Fer Lopez going at the defender. Lifts his cross in. Arakadari wanted that. Anderson was strong to head it away from him. And Wolves recycle it near halfway. Wolfer to Doherty. Moving forward is Rodrigo Gomez. Now Fer Lopez from the right side. Back to Doherty, who's shielding his eyes from the sun, which is coming slightly low over that stand. What are we up to now? Nearly 2 o'clock. So really catching the eyes of the Wolves defenders as they try to go forward. Now in the centre circle, Santiago Bueno. And Doherty going forward. Pedro Lima's getting ready to come on in with the last change. Lopez with a good pass. Sends Wolfer away. Can he cross? He hits Cabia with it. 2 were arriving in the centre. Arias and Arakadari fancied a goal, but they'll have to be content with a corner for now.
Oh, it's such a good pass, isn't it, from Fer Lopez? But I don't think the ball was quite there, was it, from Wolfer? I think he just needed to just be a bit more direct and slot it across, and there was 2 waiting just to tap it in.
They were. You can call Daz Hale now if you want to talk about this game, or as I say, anything that's going on in the West Midlands this afternoon, non-league games or whatever. Look ahead to tonight's ones. 08081 000956. Corners played short and then set back for Rodrigo Gomez. Arias encouraged to shoot, and he does. And Harrison pushes it away. Wolfer trying to square it. Narakadari stepped over the ball as it came in the 6-yard box. Couldn't get his feet right. Arias wins the ball back edge of the area. Lopez slips it through. Arias for another goal. Oh, he ran out of room. He might have won a corner off Hall, the sliding defender, and he'll settle for that. And Wolves looking hungry as we go into the final minutes.
There's a couple of good chances in there, isn't there? But, you know, it's a good ball across from Wolf, and I don't know how. I just don't think he saw it maybe with the defender, but he almost stepped over it, didn't expect it to come through. He just needed to connect, and it would have certainly been another goal.
I think you're right. The defender was just in front of him, Arakadari, because if he'd have just stood there and hit him, it'd been a goal. Corners played short by Lopez, works it nicely with Andre, sets it back for Arias, plays a pass into the area. Lopez smacked it against the body of the defender Klukas, and it came back out favourably for Shrewsbury, and they'll have a go at a break. Marquis playing it to the left. Cabia on his opposite flank to normal, wants to get the ball on his right foot, and by the time he's done that, Arias has come back and taken it from him. And Wolves have Pedro Lima standing by now. Wolfer has fumbled a pass on the far touchline, so this might be Lima's moment. He's interesting, isn't he? Having come back just now from Porto, where he was on loan, made some appearances for Porto B in the second tier in Portugal. He's going to replace John Arias, who I think we would say more positive than negative today. Arias been a bit of a mixed bag at times, but he's scored a goal, been involved in another one. Yeah,
he's been involved in a lot, hasn't he? And, you know, I think he's still one of those players that we have that he is creative, isn't he? He's on the end of most things. He's kind of trying to he was almost trying to guide the play today, I think, a little bit. But, yeah, positive performance from him. We won't talk about giving away the penalty, maybe. But, yeah, on the whole, a decent display. And good to see Pedro Lima getting some minutes again in the first team.
Yes, I mean, Keanu Hova's gone out on loan this week, which I think we can infer that means that Lima is considered now ahead of him after that spell at Porto. And, well, of course, Rodrigo Gomez is back in that conversation as well on that flank too. Here's Andre playing a pass to Mane, and forward, that bounced past Arakadari.
You can almost see Rodrigo Gomez is already slotted into a completely different position a bit further up, so I think he almost offers a little bit more, doesn't he, Rodrigo Gomez? We've seen him in that wing-back position, right and left. We've seen him on the wing. We're now seeing him in the centre of the pitch, almost in the position that Arias was playing. That's right, he's certainly flexible. And even when he's playing wing-back, he sort of, as you say, does it in a different way to some of the others. So he's got a little bit of variety with players in the same position there. Rob Edwards, and players do like managers do like versatile players these days. If you've got somebody who can be useful in more than one position, like the man on the ball now, Matt Doherty, then can be very valuable. And
Rodrigo Gomez is another who can do that. Arakadari back to Santiago Bueno. Now Krejci forward on the left for Wolfer. And Mane, who's been very lively since coming on, and he steps past Anderson. Wasn't he pulled by Anderson? No, referee thought that wasn't a foul. And away comes Shrewsbury on their right, and Mane's come back busily to win the ball back. Rodrigo Gomez tapped it short to Lopez. Shoot, they shout, and he does, and he hits the post. Lopez comes back to Arakadari. Must be a goal now for Rodrigo Gomez. It's 5-1, he's off. Rodrigo, the smiler is back. It's 5-1 at Molineux, and Rodrigo Gomez, as ever, when he gets a goal, bursts into enjoyment, and all his teammates are thrilled for him. You can see why he's a popular guy around the club, back in the team, back on the score sheet, and he's thanking everybody like he's won an Oscar. It's 5-1 Wolves.
Yeah, it's great play, isn't it? And it's good from Tolu just to pick him out, make it really simple and not snap a shot himself, and just picks a pass out where he knows it's a simple tap-in. But great to see him back on the score sheet. You know, I think earlier in the season chances fall to him. He's just moved into probably a more forward position, but he does score goals, Rodrigo Gomez, so he absolutely will add value to our squad now being back around it. But great play in that spell, by the way, from Mane, who probably gave the ball away cheaply and thought he might get a foul. Battled back to win it near the halfway line, which is a bit of what he does, that resilience, and goes back, wins it for us, and a great driving run from Fer Lopez. So, it's good to see players that have not always been around the squad that are being creative for us as well. It's showing, there is more potential in the squad than maybe we're thinking at other times in the season.
Well, it's true. And look, there's nothing wrong with having footballers who things happen to. Rodrigo Gomez, he's a footballer. When he's on the team or when he's on the field, things happen, and Wolves are going to need people to create one or two moments of magic.
Do you remember Newcastle away, one of the early games of the season? He hit we could have been 2-0 up after 10 minutes. I think both chances fell to him. One he probably should have scored, the other one he easily could have done. He is that player that drives us, gets us further up the pitch, and a bit of excitement as well. So I think he'll be a really positive addition in this next spell in the season. Yes,
it's rarely boring when he's involved, Rodrigo Gomez. And here's Arias. Here's Andre playing a pass through. Fer Lopez. Oh, needed a better first touch than that. He was in a great position. He'd taken up a super spot level with the edge of the penalty area, but the pass was straight to him and he fumbled it.
He was picked out really well by Andre as well, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. A bit of Andre and John Marquis collided. Marquis ended up on top of Andre, which would get your attention because he's a big fella, Marquis, and then ended up in a sort of a slightly dishevelled game of Twister trying to extricate themselves, much to the amusement of the Wolves bench. That was hilarious. But look, it's easy to smile when you're winning 5-1, as Wolves are advancing on the fourth round of the FA Cup, where if other results stay as they are at the moment, they're going to be joined by Leicester, who lead 2-0 at Cheltenham, by Sunderland, who lead 1-0 at Everton, and by Macclesfield, who are 2-0 up and on the verge of knocking out the holders Crystal Palace. So there's your shock of the round, even on Saturday lunchtime. Andre plays the ball across to the right for Doherty. Forward to Fer Lopez. Back to Andre. And do they fancy another? The crowd do. Nobody's gone. Mane linking up nicely with Wolfer. Over to the left-hand side. And he's tackled successfully this time by Ogunsui, who again finds that as soon as you lose the ball to Mane, he comes battling back to try and win it. And it's eventually won back for Wolves by Rodrigo Gomez. And he sent back to Doherty and Andre. There's a nice relaxed expectation now around the ground by Wolves supporters. There we go. We want 6. They've got all afternoon to sit here and watch this. Lima's cross. Just headed away from Arakadari by Hall, who wasn't sure where it had gone next. Fortunately for him, it fell to McDermott, who brings it away for Shrewsbury. And then Marquis, who's getting gradually deeper and deeper as the game goes on, draws a foul from Pedro Lima. And it's a free kick, and we're almost up to 90 minutes. But nobody's going to want to go home here at the end of this. it's going to be 2 Saturdays in a row where people are going to leave Molineux and feel good about it.
Yeah, and like we said earlier about the number of new fans here today, and that just feels like a positive, doesn't it? You come out to a game and see six goals. It's great. Wolves scoring, lots of positivity around the ground, and good experiences for everyone to come along to. A bit cold, but we've all got all the layers on, and we've had a few celebrations in the game. So
yes, I'm actually only 8 stone under all these layers. Ball's played back to Harrison, who clears towards halfway for Shrewsbury. There were 3 minutes of added time up on the board. Forward on this near side goes Loughran, and he's fouled by Andre. And it's a free kick to Shrewsbury. A yellow card for Andre, which is a slightly annoying footnote to the game. Doesn't count towards the Premier League tally, of which he already has 6, Andre, but it may count at a later stage of this competition. Free kick to Shrewsbury. It's important what you say about different people coming to Molineux on a day like today. I know a lot of the season ticket holders won't necessarily be here, but I noticed a lot of families here today, and there'll be a lot of kids maybe coming to Molineux for the first time today. And if you're a youngster and you've come and the team have scored 5 goals and you've had a good time, well, you're going to want to come back, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Mane's pass. Wolfer, if he's onside, they could be in here for another one. Arakadare makes it 6-1. Those were lovely slickness to that. Even though we're in added time, Wolves keen to run the score up. Burst down the left-hand side. Wolfer was away. Rodrigo Gomez, he's waving to the announcer to say, it's not me, it's the big man. Tolo Arakadare has his name on that one. And it's 6-1 Wolverhampton Wanderers.
It's still a great ball, isn't it, from Mane outside of his right foot into Wolfer. And then just a really sensible pass across, easily onside. No issue either side. Great goal from Tolu.
Oh well, Tolo gets his name shouted anyway. It's, well, fair play to Rodrigo. He immediately waved up at the announcer's box to say, no, you got the wrong man. It's Arakadare. And there's only about 18 inches difference between them after all. And so he's got a goal now as well, which is also a good thing. I love the hunger about Wolves today. They haven't been content just to win the game. Everybody's they've carried on playing positive right to the 90-odd minute.
They've not cruised, have they, as such? I think they've still been quite direct with their play, and they've always looked to be creative and playing pockets and lots of movement off the ball. And there's been a lot to like about today, I think, from a Wolves perspective. And I think it's about using another game, 6 goals, 3 games last home game, and taking it into the Newcastle game.
South Bank is slightly uncharitably chanting 6-1 on your big day out to the Shrewsbury fans who are going home, but take the point. Everton 1, Sunderland 1 is the latest, and here it's a full time. Wolverhampton Wanderers are through to the 4th round of the FA Cup, and they've done it with a bit of style and swagger and entertainment, most of all, for a Wolves public that have been starved of that for so long for most of the season. A good win last week against West Ham, followed up by this handsome win in the end over Shrewsbury Town. And look, the away performances have been great, and that's really good. But you do have to entertain your home public. That's most of your fan base. And if it is to be in the Championship next season, it might be, you want to keep them with you. And days like this, even if it's against a 4th Division team, they do keep people on side.
Yeah, I think exactly that. And like we said, the new fans that are in today, and I don't know, there feels like a different buzz and a different energy over the last few games. And yes, it was Shrewsbury in the FA Cup, and I don't think you want to be disrespectful to them, because they did compete and they stayed in the game for long periods of it, and did create their own chances as well. But we did look comfortable throughout the game, and 6 goals is no mean feat to score against anyone. And it's really good to see Strand Larsen getting his hat-trick and Tolu scoring as well. Lots of players getting minutes, and it feels like something that we can really take into the next game. And
yeah, look, momentum is a thing in football. Games come round so often that teams get into losing mentalities and a sort of losing momentum, and you can get it the other way as well, and it doesn't take much to change it. A couple of decent away performances and the odd point away from home, and now they've got the ball rolling.
Yeah, I think we've got to use it again, like I said, pre-match almost. Another stepping stone, a really good run of the last 3 games. This is another opportunity to go 4 games unbeaten, Newcastle now feels like a real, and I feel like we can compete. I think there's a different energy around the group. I think we've got players coming back from injury. We've got a better squad to go at, for the next few games as well. And what we could have done today is hit that cruise control button way earlier and the intensity dip. But actually, I think we did a really good job of keeping that relatively high and going to get the goals that we deserve and see the win through really well.
For a lot of this season, Wolverhampton Wanderers haven't looked like a Premier League team. When this draw was made, the facts told us there were 3 divisions between the teams, and today Wolves proved that. Wolverhampton Wanderers 6, Shrewsbury Town 1, and they're in the 4th round.
Yeah, discovering the joy of 6 at Molineux this afternoon. Palace have scored in the 90th minute at Macclesfield, and there's about 3 minutes of added time to go. It's still Macclesfield 2, Crystal Palace 1, Macclesfield of National League North. Palace, of course, the holders, so we're around 2 or 3 minutes away from full-time there of what would be one of the biggest cup shocks for many a year, I would suggest. There hasn't been a one at Molineux this afternoon then, so Wolves cruising through into the 4th round. We'll take your reaction to the action now then in the full-time phone-in. Claire Hakeman will be staying with us for the first part of it as well. 08081 009956 is the number. So your thoughts on what you've seen this afternoon, Wolves fans. Made light work of it in the end after giving away that penalty to get it back to 2-1. Jorgen Strand-Larsen as well with a hat-trick, looking fitter, looking sharper, looking hungrier. Will he still be at the club next week or at the end of the month? But the positives that you take from today, and are you seeing genuine improvements now under Rob Edwards? 08081 009956.
BBC Radio WM.
Out now, Jeff Thomas Tour de Force.
I went from the Premier League to life-changing leukemia diagnosis.
I found myself sat in traffic being told this devastating news and just welled up.
I played for the likes of Wolverhampton Wanderers, Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest and 9 caps for England. Join me if you've never heard me before, riding the route to the Tour de France 7 times over, helping raise more than £15 million to cure leukemia.
So beautiful, but it still hurt though. To be honest, it hurt all the way up to the top.
Jeff Thomas Tour de Force, a BBC Radio WM special.
Listen now on BBC Sounds.
BBC Radio WM Sports.
So it is the full-time phone-in. We're on BBC Radio WM. We're on BBC Sounds. We're on your smart speaker. 08081 009956. The first of our 5 FA Cup 3rd round ties this weekend on BBC Radio WM. Jorgen Strand-Larsen hits a hat-trick as Wolves hit Shrewsbury for 6 to book their place in the 4th round of the FA Cup. We'll go to the lines very shortly. Claire Hakeman is with us as well at Molineux. 08081 009956. They're just moments away from full-time now as well at Macclesfield. As you said, that will be one of the biggest cup upsets for many a year if they manage just to close it out. Macclesfield, National League North, leading Crystal Palace, Premier League and the current holders of the FA Cup by 2-1. And now the beyond added time, so there's seconds away from, and I thought they'd blown the whistle for time, then he'd blown it for a free kick. The other scores then in the early kickoffs this afternoon in the FA Cup: Everton 1, Sunderland 1. So that now is about to go to extra time. Lafay, who of course missed that penalty midweek with a Panenka, put Sunderland 1 up. But a James Garner penalty on 89 minutes has taken that to extra time. Cheltenham 0, Leicester City 2, so a pretty routine win for Leicester this afternoon. Daka and Mavadidi, the scorers there. And as we know at Molineux, Wolves 6, Shrewsbury 1. In League 1, they're still playing. Luton 2, Stevenage 1 is the latest, and Stockport 0, Huddersfield 0. No games in League 2. So 08081 009956 for your reaction to the action. We're going to go to Kevin and we're going to go to Tom very, very shortly. Let's just go back to Molineux first of all. Claire Hakeman. And Claire, at half-time at 3-1, we said that it would be really good if they could, instead of taking the foot off the gas, if they could actually put the foot on the throat a little bit and go on and score a few more goals, especially attacking towards the South Bank. And that's exactly what they've done in the end. It's been pretty ruthless performance, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's so easy in those sort of games to be 3-1 at half-time and finish 3-1, isn't it? And almost cruise through the game and not extend the scoreline as much as we should, but we just kept driving for more, and could have easily been a couple more goals on that, but I think we were good for it as well. I think we were creative, and like we said, there was new fans clearly here, loads of families here today. I think it was kids for a fiver pre-match, so I just feel like they made the most of the opportunity that was in front of them, and a game against a team like Shrewsbury that could have been a banana skin, they saw it through really comfortably and really professionally.
Yeah, well, nearly 25,000 at Molyneux. If you've been there, maybe you've been listening on BBC Radio WM, on BBC Sounds, maybe you've been watching it. If you've been for the first time as well, 08081 00 9956. And don't just take it as a given that you just turn up and beat League Two teams, because the final whistle has now gone. National League North side Macclesfield have knocked out the holders, Premier League Crystal Palace. That is an enormous cup upset. Macclesfield 2, Crystal Palace 1. We don't want them away in the next round, Claire. You can stop that now before it even happens. Right, we'll go to Tom and we'll go to Jacob before we... first of all, we'll go to Kevin. So, Kevin, smiles on faces for the second Saturday running. What did you make of it today?
Well, I think what you've got to do in the FA Cup, Daz, I know they were towards the bottom of Division 2. You've got to do two things. You've got to respect the competition and you've got to respect the opposition. And fair play to Edwards, he did that in his team selection. It was an ideal moment, really, for Lawson to come in. And because no matter whatever level you play at, goal scorers need to score goals. And he's got an hat-trick, and that'll do his confidence good and probably increase the value of him at the same time.
Yeah.
I just thought, you're going about professional performances and that. We went 2-0 up, we were gliding, then we took our foot a bit off the gas, which I suppose in some respects might be a bit natural. So they get the penalty, then we come again, and then obviously the keepers give us the third one. Fourth goal was an excellent team goal. But as Claire just said, I just think that easy thing to do at half-time and second half, but you could see the players, they were hungry for more, and the substitutes that came on. Great to see Gomez back from injury, and and just positives. Lima's back in the squad, etc. So it's great to win a match, and it was nice to see families there, young kids, and that, just appreciating the fact that it was a great win, but we respected the competition and we got what we deserved, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the substitutes. Rodrigo Gomez coming on and scoring within a few moments. Tolu coming on for Larson and also getting his goal. So nearly 25,000 there. And Kevin's made the point there, and you picked up on it in commentary as well, Claire, about the fact that there were so many families there. Now, Jeff Shee's gone, so we're led. Officially Jeff Shee's gone. That's as far as we understand. Now, they've made the prices really cheap for this game, £10 and £5, which is terrific. And as a result, they've got 25,000 there. The Bournemouth game coming up soon is kids for £1 in the Premier League. Now, I know you can say, because they've been struggling to sell the tickets. Don't matter. It's kids for £1. That would never have happened under Jeff Shee. So the pricing structure today, the pricing structure for the Bournemouth game, does that give us all a little bit of encouragement that if Wolves go down, which is still looking extremely likely, that maybe the season ticket prices might be a little bit more realistic next season, Claire?
I don't know. Obviously, I don't know where they'll go with season ticket prices. But, I think the bit for me today is that they're building a new fan base, and that's what you have to keep doing. Wolverhampton's a brilliant community. The foundation that work here do so much great work in the community, but you've got to keep getting people coming to the games, and I think we have seen a drop off this season in supporters coming. I think sometimes season ticket holders haven't been turning up. I think there's been a real dip, but actually we just feel like we've turned a little bit of a corner, and we're on the uprise again. And I'd seen the quids for £1 offer for Bournemouth, and I think it's brilliant, because that's what you've got to keep doing, isn't it? You've got to keep getting new people through the door, making it accessible for people to come and support the team. And the Wolves players today have put on a great show in terms of, like, people have come for their first game. They've scored 6 goals. It looked it's been exciting. We've been absolutely, obviously taken the game to Shrewsbury and been really positive in the way that we've played as well. But I think we've now got to take that, and this is the stepping stone to take it into the Newcastle game next week and the remainder of the games that we've got left in the Premier League, because it's a building blocks for next season. So yes, if we get relegated in the Championship, they're going to have to be creative, aren't they, with the marketing to get people in, because if you lose the crowd, you lose the atmosphere, and it's all a knock-on effect to how the players probably ultimately perform. Because I think some of the performances, I don't think the crowd's been behind the lads either in some respects, which I can get both sides of that, by the way, but I think it does make such a big difference when you've got a crowd and a rocking Molyneux to try and help the boys get the results that they need.
Well, see, 9 goals